Okay, stream. So, can I make this music go away? I can. I just have to mute it. Hey, man. I have not eaten, so you have that advantage on me. But,
I'm not sure. My dinner was awful.
Alright, so, a few days ago, 2 days ago maybe? It was pretty recent. There was a DD main that came in the channel, and he hangs out. His name is the Tech Geek. Oh, let me change my little description thing real quick. Balancing act. What is this? CV discussion?
I guess.
Our CV's OP. I guess I'll do that. Because I'm assuming that you're on the pro CVs are fucking crazy side. So
They're not. I wouldn't say they're overpowered necessarily. There are CVs that are weak, but the problem is really that the concept in itself is just broken.
okay, so before we go into the nitty gritty or whatever, so I had a conversation with the Tech Geek, talking about the interactions between DDs and CVs, and I come from more of like a game design aspect angle or whatever, and we had a long talk. It went for about 2 hours. It was a lot of fun. And I posted or whatever to the forum. So some people have listened to it. It's over on the World of Warships forum if you're interested. Also, if you scroll down below the Twitch screen, there's a little discussions box or something, and below that is the first one that I've done. So if you are interested, it's there. Well, anyway, El2aZeR or El2aZeR, is it ERASER?
Yeah, it's ERASER.
Rocket.
But I don't care. Just call me whatever. I'm used to it.
So he took exception. I think he said he listened about an hour before. He just couldn't do any more, and took to the forum.
No, I just didn't have time, to be honest.
Okay, well, I went to the forum and said a bunch of stuff. So rather than do this whole back and forth on the forum or whatever, it's just much easier to just do it over voice. So how would you like to do this? Do you want to talk about like, hey, let's talk about this topic and we can talk about this thing? Or do you want to look at the list of stuff that you mentioned and we can just kind of address it point by point?
I don't really care, to be honest. I thought you'd just start and we'd go from there.
Okay. Well, let me just start off, it's kind of like a jump off point. We can look at the thing that you posted.
Oh, but the connection is being really.
My connection is bad. Can you hear me? Can you not hear me?
No, just you sounded. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay.
That was weird.
I don't know. No bueno, sir. No bueno. Let me open up your thing.
Yeah,
right.
Hold on, I'll open it as well. I have to remember what I wrote.
Yeah, you wrote a lot, so.
I did.
Before I do this, I am going to run to the restroom, and then we can hop into this, and we will do some CV discussion stuff, so I will be right back. Just give me a moment.
Got it.
Okay, so.
Wow, that was quick.
Hey man, I'm speedy. Getting it done. Here, I'll imbibe some nutrition in the form of a Red Bull, so I've got at least something in my stomach. Okay, so we started off the conversation, me and Tech Geek, with, I think his first question to me was, is Holland AA too strong? And I started out by going, well, before we can really talk about that, we kind of have to talk about what they did with AA in terms of the rework and how it moved forward and where it's at now. blah blah blah. We
I mean,
eventually addressed that.
I can actually give you some insight into how AI worked in testing because I was part of it.
Sure. So I
Um,
want to go ahead and point out I did not play during the RTS version. I
yeah, sure.
played very, very briefly. Like literally, I had a little tier 4 carrier. I think I'd earned up to the tier 5 and then I stopped. So, very, very minimal RTS involvement. I am a post rework kind of dude. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
sure. So how AI worked in RTS was basically rising chance over time, like the chance, your base chance, and how the rate at which it would rise was then calculated in some way. I don't think it was ever published. It was calculated in some way between DPS and health, plane health, and basically, yeah, it was rising chance over time, and it had a maximum chance of 90%. And after several ticks of 90%, the plane would get destroyed instantly. So it's kind of like HP system, but you would have a chance to destroy a plane earlier, and it also had some weird stuff to prevent instant wipes or something. So if a plane was determined to be destroyed early, the squad would actually get an HP buff, and if it was destroyed late, it would actually get an HP nerf. It was really weird. So during rework testing, they actually thought that you literally wouldn't be able to dodge all flag. So literally the long and mid range aura didn't have any DPS. It was just flag, and the short range just had like I don't know 50 or something. It was really low. I can maybe send you a video of some. Wait a second.
No, I can conceptualize it. I got it.
No,
Like,
no, um, just to show you the dumb stuff you could actually do. You could like deal 100k damage within like 3 minutes of the game. It was really stupid.
in terms of with CVs,
Yeah, yeah. So hold on. Here we go.
this is when they were testing the rework, right?
Yep, this was. I think it was the second rework. Yeah, it was the second testing iteration. Um, so basically, you could literally just fly up into a blob and just drop a target like 4 times, and your bombs like rework CVs actually started out with more alpha strike than RTS, which was also really stupid. And yeah, then they realized eventually that hey, maybe this isn't a good idea because suddenly people can actually against the expectations, people can actually dodge all flag
Sure.
fairly easily.
Yeah, if there's no guarantee, I mean, that can be a problem, especially when you have somebody that's extremely skilled. So,
Yes, of
sure.
course. So they introduced DPS on literally every aura, but it was insufficient. Like the last DPS we had in testing was literally just 080. They just pushed it out despite all warnings.
Yeah, I think for those that didn't know, when Wargaming was initially designing the whole CV rework thing, they stated there are so few players that actually go on to the test server that they really don't have a large group of people to learn from. So they got most of what they did on the test server. They designed the idea and they wrote the code and they put it on the test server and the game didn't break. That was what they looked for. Are there bugs? Does the game crash? Okay, we got it to
Yes,
where there
but
aren't bugs, it's not crashing. And then they pretty much just kicked it to live because then they could put it into a situation where they could have lots and lots and lots of testing and figure shit out from there.
yes, of course.
Unfortunately, that meant that the live players got to be a whole bunch of lab rats getting their asses kicked by overpowered CVs that had nothing to stop them from slaughtering everyone on the map. And that was not okay. So that was where a lot of balance changes came in. I came in, I think, personally around maybe 8.2, patch 8.2, maybe.
Oh,
So I was not around in the initial fucking craziness, but I've seen the numbers that people were able to pull, like 500,000 damage a game, which
Yeah,
is
it was funny.
was just dumb. So they have since nerfed a lot of stuff. They've altered a lot of things, but back in the beginning, it was Wild West crazy town. So yeah.
So I felt like 085, where they changed the AA button. Sorry, where they changed the AA but not the DPS. I felt like that was actually pretty good. That was actually the first time I consistently fell below 80% solo win rate. And I felt like I was actually performing worse. And you could still strike stuff like Minotaur and so on, and you could strike groups, but it would cost you basically your entire squadron.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like that is the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to just YOLO out and just strike groups with negligible losses, or strike an A ship with, I don't know, losing like 5 planes or something.
So for those that don't, well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to say that I felt like this is the way the rework should be balanced.
So you felt like that was the design that you should be interacting with. All right. So
yeah, but
go ahead.
Yeah, the issue is that, of course, it made CV play very unfun for a lot of people, and I completely understand. And this is because of the fundamental issue with CVs is that you're playing against an AI mechanic. You're not actually playing against someone who has any actual skill input. So you're basically playing a PvE game.
I don't agree with that, but we can get into that in a bit. Okay,
yeah, sure.
So to give the audience at least an understanding, so patch 8.0 came out where everything was just fucking stupid. So, you had the starting point. Hey, let's just put it in there. We'll figure it out. That's why Wargaming is taking a lot of time with subs. They don't want to just rush it out. They don't want to lab rat the situation. So, anyway, 8.3 came out. They changed the plane speed so that you couldn't fly around as quickly. And that actually had a pretty noticeable impact, but still, the biggest issue was you'd shoot lots of AA into a target, but the AA would be randomly divvied among all the planes in the squadron. So if you had a bunch of planes, you could just absorb massive amounts of damage before you actually lost any planes, which was incredibly frustrating because you have people on the surface ships like, what the fuck, man? I just did 30,000 damage to this stupid thing and I didn't even kill a single plane. What? Well, it's because you had 12 planes. Each of them have 3,000 health. That's 36,000 health. So they're all really low, but they're not dead. And it was a really frustrating situation. So in 8.5, they took all of that guaranteed damage and they made it all go into a single plane at like the last plane on your little health bar list. So, bzzz, plane is dead. Bzzz, plane is dead. Bzzz, plane is dead. So it enforced plane loss. It made you have to take plane losses because you were going to take guaranteed damage that you can't dodge, and it's going to kill planes. So what El2aZeR is talking about is when 8.5 came in, to try to get planes to die, because again, 30,000 damage, why the fuck aren't the planes dead? Well, they made the AA numbers really high because they had to brute force it. They had to push so much damage into the planes to get anything to die that when they made the change where it guaranteed planes would die, you'd have a plane, you'd attack a Minotaur and you would lose a plane, and then you'd lose a plane, and then you'd lose a plane, and then you'd lose a plane, and then a plane. Like, it takes 5 seconds or 6 seconds to strike something, and you've already lost 4 planes just doing that from this single fucking ship. God forbid if he has a friend, in which case you're losing 7, or even you might even lose all of your planes before you even get to shoot. So I remember just a personal story. At that time, 8.5 came out. It got rough. Not gonna lie. It got rough. And there was a challenge on the forum. Is there any carrier that exists that can get 250,000 damage now? Like, is that even possible? Not to say that it's normal, not to say it's expected, just like, is it even possible? And within a day, somebody got it on EU. And I think I was able to get it a day and a half later, but it was hard as fuck. So, like, I got really lucky. There was a battleship that just went off on his own. So I got to farm him, and then there was somebody else, and I got to farm him, and it was a loss. But, like, so it went all the way down to the wire, and I'm just getting little hits after hits after hits. But it was possible. So when they made that change, it got aggressively rough. And El2aZeR's saying, that felt good. I liked getting my ass kicked.
I mean, from a balancing perspective, not from a personal. From a personal perspective, it was of course completely awful playing CVs.
Well,
for the most part.
But what about the balancing aspect makes that better than? Okay, so we'll go a little further ahead. We must go forward so we can go back. So the devs, I think, they did a little demonstration or whatever. Hey, check out the new CVs or something. We changed this. It's better now. Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure they got wrecked on stream because the numbers were just stupid. So
yeah, but devs even get wrecked now because they're just bad.
Well, I mean, you have to understand though, if there's 10 million people that play this game, there's one El2aZeR. One.
Yes, of course.
And then of all the people that are in the top 100 CVs and top 200 CVs, there's 200 of them, not millions. So when you can look at a puzzle and you can instantly unlock it in your mind and find the solution and carry it out, that's because you have that magic ability. Other people do not. And when you're designing a game, they can't design the game for you because there are other people that cannot do the things you do. Just like you can't design League of Legends around Faker. Faker exists on a human level that's just very extremely capable at the game.
Yeah, but the fun part of when you're quoting League of Legends is that they're actually balancing around the top level, which is not done in World of Warships either. Like, you don't have to balance around the literal friggin' god, but assuming a high standard of players, actually.
But here's a difference between League of Legends and Warships. In League of Legends, you'll have pro players that will completely abandon a character because he takes 2% more damage than he took in the last patch. And then they've mathed everything out, so they know that 2% difference means you lose like 60% of the time. Instead of being a 50-50. They'll take the 50-50 because they can make it work. But when it turns into a 53% loss rate, then, shit, I can't do this. They have to change. The average player, nobody gives a fuck. It's so random. But the CVAA system, guaranteed damage, you don't avoid that shit. You take the guaranteed damage. And the guaranteed damage in 8.5 was what killed all your planes. I know this because you've already expressed you are amazing at dodging flak, which means it wasn't flak that was killing your planes, it was the guaranteed damage. So to somebody that even hits flak, there's absolutely no surface ship interaction, which means why would you even bring a carrier because you can't do anything? There's no play.
Precisely. Precisely, but that's just the thing, isn't it? You're fighting against something, you're fighting against a bot. And it's never going to feel fun getting beaten by a bot.
I disagree with that. I see how the position of a surface ship absolutely impacts what a CV can and cannot do to it, both in the terms of during its strike and how it has to set up interactions in the future. If you use island cover, you can't torp from that direction. You have to come from a different direction. If you're an open water ship and you're playing safely enough that you have the ability to spin in a fucking circle, then you can absolutely frustrate a CV that's trying to torp you or bomb you or try to rocket you with MVR and get citadels. Like, you have the positional ability as a surface ship to do things, and just because it's hard doesn't mean you don't have it. Also, you can use the other ships on your team, willingly or unwillingly. If somebody's sailing off to your right, you can use their position to buffer you against CV attacks because you know they're there, and it's a chunk of AA that the CV would have to fly through just to get to you. Like,
yes, of course, but on the other hand, as a CV, you are the most flexible thing on the entire map. Obviously, you have the fastest moving weapons. You have the most accurate weapons. you have three types of completely different what is it called? Completely different type of weapon systems that work differently depending on the situations. And if you make a choice on which weapon system to use, you actually have to do so in advance. Like, you have to know that that guy is gonna use that island, and like in about you need about 30 seconds normally, or actually a bit longer to target. And 30 seconds in surface ship play, there's not much time to reposition. Like, if he goes up to the island, he's gonna be at that island, or he's just gonna be on open water. And then if you just choose dive bombers, and you know he's gonna be next to the island, yeah, he's actually just shafted himself. Because yeah, you can just play around islands with dive bombers. And then, so in reality, against CVs, you only have bad positioning and worse positioning. Because the CV can actually predict where you're going to be in the next, just in the next 30 seconds, because your surface ship is not going to be somewhere, like your surface ship is not going to go 200 knots across the map and be somewhere else entirely.
Okay, so for just, I'm going to recap this just to make sure that you know that I'm hearing what you're saying, and that also that, you know, chat is able to kind of follow. What you're saying is, CVs have very fast planes, and because they are so fast, that you can find the angle, you can circle around the enemy ship. You have the option to come from any direction, any angle, any whatever you want, because your planes go so fast that you can force, you know, even if the ship is maneuvering, even if the ship is hiding, you're the one that has the initiative. You're the one who chooses what you want to do, and ultimately, the surface ship is the slow fat kid that's going to get nailed in dodgeball, and you're just the dude who's throwing the dodgeball.
Basically, yes, but you said that, for example, you cannot torp through islands. Obviously, this is true. Sure. Yes, but then why have you chosen torps? Because you knew he was going to be there in the last. Because surface ships cannot just teleport away. So that's actually a misplay on your part.
So here's something. Okay, here's how I look at this personally. Have you ever played Overwatch? Or are you familiar with the game?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't played it.
Okay, so we all know what the word flanking means when somebody's on your side. Well, there's another flank in Overwatch, which is above. There's a character that can fly. She can shoot rockets. I think they added another character that has a flight ability or whatever. So there's somebody could be in front of you, they could be behind you, they could be to your left, to your right, or they could be above. Meaning it's just another angle that you have to pay attention to. And one of the things that CVs have, which surface ships do not, is that above angle. So you can have a surface ship that takes an unflankable position to surface ships that a CV can interact with. And I think that's okay. I think that's actually good. Why do I think it's good? Because when you start having stagnant board positions, you'll find that people will just kind of like, oh, this is the god spot, and they will take it and they'll use it and they will win with it because it's an unflankable position. In this game, there's not too many of those really in surface ship wise, but I mean, if you watch competitive play, you pretty much see the same ships going to the same spot to do the same thing, and it really just comes down to who set more fires and burned the other asshole first so that they can then start to make a move. What do CVs do? They threaten those positions by adding an additional flank. And I personally don't see it as a bad thing that, okay, well, I took more damage than I should have taken. Okay, well, go fuck yourself. Like, a player added his contribution to help his team by trying to break your position. So if you took an island position and that made you weak to bombs, you made yourself weak to bombs, you're going to get bombed. If you took a position where you're weak to torps, you took a position where you're weak to torps. So like you are still in the surface ship, you are still choosing your position. And especially in a competitive atmosphere, your team is choosing their positions and what assets they'll use to put together to overlap AA or to try to manage flak somehow. Like, there's still decisions that go into this that have repercussion other than just planes go fast, get fucked. That's how I tend to look at it.
I mean, the issue is that A, overlapping isn't really that effective unless it's done in a complete blob, because long range A is just stupidly weak. Like, long range A is typically weaker than Shimakaze A, and saying that you can just stay within 5 kilometers of a friendly ship and be fine is just like saying you put a Shimakaze between you and the enemy CV and you're gonna be fine. And
it's
so,
what the one thing that long range does. Okay, so let me kind of step back to give the audience kind of a concept. If you have, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little long-winded with this, but I'll try to be fast.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
The best way to think of AA, in my opinion, the best way to think about AA is how many ships do you or how many planes do you kill when a CV strikes you? Do you kill half a plane? Do you kill one plane? Do you kill 2 planes per strike? So that helps you know what the ship actually does. Like, in practical reality, what does the ship actually do? Not the bullshit number that you see in the port. Oh, I have 89 AA, which means nothing. So
yeah, of course.
So if you have a ship that kills 1 plane, then if you have another ship that kills 1 plane, if you put them on top of each other, their AA is totally overlapped, then the CV's experience is he's going to charge in. He's going to lose 2 planes because both of your AAs are on top of each other, and then strike. And then if he tries to turn and make another strike, he's going to lose another 2 planes. Whatever.
Yeah, he's actually going to lose less because he's now closer to you, and the initial approach is takes the longest.
He actually loses. He actually loses more because the initial approach slings through the AA faster than the return approach, where you have to make a U-turn.
Yeah, but you also have immunity, so that kind of cancels it out.
Well,
like if you turn immediately, it's usually less.
In
my experience,
I find that you hover in the AA longer on the return trip if you make the U-turn while still lingering. If you're able to get out of the mid-range, it's not nearly as bad as if you're doing it in the mid-range, but it's still the amount of time you spend bathing yourself in bullets. It adds up. But I'm sorry. Lastly, as far as AA positioning, there's another way that you can do it, which is flak is generated against ships that are further than 3.5 kilometers away. So if you space your ships 3.5 kilometers away from each other, when a CV is coming in for an attack run, the flak at this point is a mini game. It's a mini game so that the planes don't just charge forward and hit. It makes it a little more involved. They have to move and juke and dodge or whatever, and they do the thing. One of the issues with having spaced ships is that once you get in that 3.5 kilometers, you need to be setting up your attack run. You need to start your attack. You need to start the aiming. You can't really turn a lot so that it aims correctly, so you get a good damaging strike. Well, having that other ship still outside of his 3.5, so the flak is still there, often the flak could start to fuck with your attack line. And in some cases, not in all, because it's random, but in 20% of the cases, you will eat flak, causing extreme plane loss or at least extreme health loss. And in some cases, it just wipes you. Because you can't turn.
Dodge that. You can just dodge that by slowing down. The flag aims in a way that you take the same time to hit it regardless of how fast you're going. So if you go faster, it's going to spawn further away. And a flag actually hits you towards the end of its lifespan, which I think is about 3 seconds, so it's going to hit you at about 2.5 or something. So if you just slow down, you're just going to fly through flag completely undamaged.
So so you start speed juking at what? 3.8 to 4 kilometers away from your target, so that you can speed juke the flak from the other ship while you're aiming to make the strike.
You just go full speed all the way, and then on the last, what's it on the last one? On the last 2 flag spawns, you just slow down. You just let go of the W button, and it's fine.
And that would be in the last 2 kilometers to the strike. You're juking the flak.
That would
from
be
the
already
ship.
that would already be locked into your attack run, yes. And in some like dive bombers don't care about flag; they just dodge it by default.
Not necessarily true. for the most part true, but not necessarily true. I've gotten
Sometimes it's weird.
I've gotten,
Sometimes it's weird. Yeah.
I've gotten bombers totally nuked while they were going up for the climb, and then they just bathed in a giant volcano of doom, and then they're
Sometimes it's really weird, but most of the time it's just dive bombers just dodge by default.
Okay, so those are kind of the two AA mechanics. Either one, you just literally group the AA together so that you cause attrition, you force attrition, or two, you spread it out so the attacked target does his own amount of attrition while the other one is really sprinkling in flak to continue the mini game and potentially fuck up an attack run, which, depending on what the ship is, how many flak puffs it has, how powerful the flak puffs are, can matter. And actually I have a question for you, which you might know or you might not.
Sure.
There's, if you look in the port, if you hover over the A defense damage by shell explosions, there's a hit probability number.
Yep.
Does the hit probability number mean it's more accurate fire, as in like reading your plane's motion?
No. The hit probability is just and for flak it's actually determines how much flak spawns on average. There's a post from Sub-Octavian. Let me find it real quick.
So, for instance, the Montana, I think, has a 70% hit chance on its flak. I was assuming that what that meant was there would be more dispersion amongst, how it comes out.
No. Dispersion is completely independent.
So the hit chance is kind of like a random roll. How many of these 8 actually get shot out of the cannon?
Basically,
that seems bizarre.
Actual average number of flag bursts is base flag burst parameter multiplied by hit chance. So basically, if you have, let me check real quick, if you have five flag bursts multiplied by, let's say, 75% on 0.75, on average you should spawn 4 flag bursts.
On average? Wouldn't that be 6? 75% of 8 being 6?
I said 5 flag bursts.
Oh, I thought you said 4.
No, I mean, 5 multiplied by 0.75 is basically 3.75, which gets rounded up to 4.
Got it. I was thinking of a different base number. I was thinking of a base number of 8. Okay, so the other question I have to you is, if you know this, because I don't, with the defensive fire consumable, there's a 300% increased damage to shell explosion, so it makes the flak theoretically do enough damage to one-shot anything and everything that flies. I don't understand why they gave it so much extreme amounts of damage. I'm guessing that there are other games that what they'll do is they have an AoE mechanic where they've got the source, the genesis of the explosion, that's a full damage, and then there's a radius degradation. So every 1 meter away from the center of the source, it's 10% less or something, out to, say, 10 meters, in which case it's 0. And I was wondering if the increase in the explosion causes basically a farther amount of explosion radius, because just making it do that much damage, they could have just had it double, and it would do the same thing because it would one-shot a plane. Like, what's the point in having it do 20,000 damage if it's shooting a thing that has 2,000 health?
I'm pretty sure they just arbitrarily chose the number. I have no idea.
Okay, so you don't know of any interaction with just actually making that stronger. You wouldn't know. Okay. Well, I didn't know if you happened to have some dev post or something or some whatever.
No. I'm pretty sure they just arbitrarily chose the number and just went with it. And yeah, sure, it can. It insta-kills planes, it's fine. Let's just not fuck with it. And yeah.
Okay, well, so I think we can kind of round back to some of the original conversation. They changed, so after 8.5, where they enforced plane loss, no matter what you did, you took guaranteed damage, you done got fucked.
Yep.
They altered it in 8.7. And they kind of took an idea off the forums where people had said, we want manual AA. We want to be able to shoot down the planes ourselves. Pew, 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 pew.
Which, of course, is a terrible idea.
Yeah, which is, because you're already mentally taxed enough tracking surface ship movements, tracking people shooting
Yes.
at you, tracking this, that, blah, blah, blah. So they instead decided to make the priority sector, which initially you just set to one side or the other side and fire and forget, basically. They made it interactive. So you hit the button, you do a little damage. So there's some damage.
In my opinion, the initial sector was initial. Oh, what the hell am I saying? The initial sector reinforcement mechanic was, in my opinion, actually more interactive, simply because you had to actually pay attention and play more, set it in advance, and actually check the minimap and so on, where the planes are, where you're oriented, and so forth.
I would agree with that. I think it was a more complex system that was more rewarding, but at the same time, it was complex. And
yes, of course.
Yeah, so the issue wasn't people that knew how to play against CVs and did really well at it. The issue was the average player base that did not and was just suffering as a result. So they made something that is a little more interactive, a little more intuitive. You look at the planes, you hit the button. Pew.
Yes, but on the other hand, it's also become kind of weak.
Yeah, so as a result of adding the additional damage to the priority sector, they basically halved all the AA in the game. They just kind of whacked it in half. So if you wanted to reach what were basically 8.5 levels, you have to double up your ship count to even approach what used to occur back at 8.5.
Not even that, because back then the different auras weren't stacked. So if your aura did 500 if your long range aura did 500 DPS, it dealt 500 DPS. If your mid range aura dealt, I don't know, 1,000 DPS, it dealt 1,000 DPS, not 1,500.
Yeah, they didn't stack together, right?
Back then, staying inside mid range or long range was actually a viable option, because the DPS was just much better. Whereas now, if you stay in the long range, it might as well not exist.
I don't agree with that. It's chip damage, and technically you have to play the flak minigame while you do it. But yeah, it's not extreme. It's not strike levels of attrition. It's a constant wear and tear sort of thing.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if you like in a strike, you usually regenerate about 1.5 planes to one plane. So if you just shoot on one plane, that's like literally zero sum.
Correct. So there's some people that, because we've encountered each other on the forums a few times.
Yep.
Usually whatever I say, you say I'm completely wrong. It's typically how it goes. But I've tried to preach.
It depends on the topic, I suppose.
If anything's CV related, anything I say tends to be wrong. So what I've tried to tell people is, after the priority sector rework, because basically the AA got cut in half, if you look at the math and whatever of it, it's basically, that any single ship is absolutely strikeable. A Des Moines is strikeable. A Minotaur is strikeable. It doesn't mean that it's going to be, it doesn't mean you're going to just it's not that the AA heals you. It doesn't give you any additional fun. But the fact that if you strike a Des Moines and you lose 2 planes, as you stated, just the time it takes for you to fly from the CV over to the Des Moines to do the thing, you've already regened 1 plane, and you're halfway towards regenning the second. So it's not that you really lost a lot. Whereas when you start to add a second person, instead of losing 2 planes, you're now losing 4. Okay, well, that's actually attrition bleed. And if you keep having to strike into that, 2 planes, 2 planes, 2 planes, 2 planes, it starts
eventually
adding
it catches up to you. But the problem is, you're gonna kill that one Des Moines. You're gonna kill that one ship faster than you run out of planes, because you just get so many of them.
Yeah, but how quickly do you... I understand that you're probably one of the best CVs on EU, but realistically, against 2 Des Moines that don't have outside ship pressure, how quickly do you solo a Des Moines? Now, if you're in the MVR, I'm going to say the MVR is going to be a standout. So if you're able to just bitch slap them for 20k every strike, then yeah, it's going to happen quite a bit faster than otherwise. But in something like a Midway and something like a Hikaru, where you're using rockets, torps are obviously going to be great. If you if you drop the bombs and you get the citadels, that's going to be pretty tasty too. But still, what's your time to kill on that first Des Moines that's going to soften up the AA to allow you to just harass the second one?
If you're completely alone, typical time to kill is not that different from RTS, from an RTS strike cycle usually.
which is 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
About 3.5, somewhere. If you're depending on CV.
So
Well, 3.5 to 4, somewhere around that.
So if the Des Moines has something like
So-
50,000 health and some heals, you're looking at roughly 60 to 70,000 effective HP. You're saying that it's pretty consistent that you'll take about 3, maybe 4 minutes to deal 70,000 damage.
Depending on how dumb he is, he might actually go faster. But if he has complete room to maneuver and you're alone, yeah, it's probably gonna take a bit longer. But then again,
Yeah,
RTS wouldn't actually be able to strike that at all.
So, like, personally, I would think that rocket planes, HE rockets against the Des Moines is going to do something like 4 to 6K. That's per strike. So 2 strikes you're getting in.
I would actually say a bit more, but
It can be. But I mean, again, if somebody's going to be dumb, if they're going to do everything they can to help you kill them, I'm gonna go ahead and pretend that's the outlier. But somebody that's going to move a little bit, somebody that's going to try to turn a little bit or something, maybe they're behind a rock so they can't move a lot, but they can at least angle or something, blah, 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 whatever. I'm assuming at least there's that. So if you get the strike off, we'll say 6K, maybe up to 9. So you come in with your 9 planes, you lose probably 3 or 4 to the Des Moines AA. On the initial strike, you get 9K. Well, now you're left with about 4 planes. You probably can't come in with a second strike, assuming the 2 Des Moines are on top of each other and they are fairly competent at their ships, which means you have to send
4 planes is on the low side, to be honest.
I'm
not sure if you're running the flight deck mode, which gives you 2 extra.
No, I'm saying lose 4 planes during the strike. So, like, you come in with 9, you lose 4, you strike with 3, the last 2 bug out. You probably lost about 3 or 4 planes.
Oh yeah, well, of course.
But what that means is you attack once, and then you fuck off. And then you have to fly back from the carrier to attack again for another 9K damage, and then you fuck off. Maybe you get some torps in. Okay, that's 12. Maybe you get a second torp drop while you're there. That's another 12, so that's 24. But that's going to be something like 1 minute and 40 seconds. So the first minute you put in was the first rocket strike. The second minute, maybe a second rocket strike. Then you've got another 1.5 minutes, which is the torp strike that you do twice. You've done approximately 40K damage at this point, plus he's saturated, which means he's hardened to HE. He's healed probably once, maybe twice by this point. So you still have another 3 minutes to go, which is why I would say a single CV kill on a Des Moines, I would expect about 8 minutes. So I don't see the 3. Now, again, the MVR is an outlier with the crazy Citadel rockets, so if you're just going to walk up and fucking blap somebody, I mean, it is highly specialized to do that. But in other situations, the other CVs aren't. So I can't agree that it's a 3-minute kill. Especially
it's not. It won't be. Like if you're completely alone, you have to face 2 Des Moines. Yeah, that's not going to be 3 minutes. I would say about 6.
Yeah.
Like 8 is. I would say 8 is on the high side.
Okay. Well,
like you'd have to get unlucky.
Yeah, I'd go with that. But even still, every time you're striking the double Des Moines, kind of like we said, if it's 2 ships causes resource bleed. So it may take you 6 to 8 minutes to kill the Des Moines, but during that 6 to 8 minutes, you are constantly losing resources. Yes, you're regenning, but you're not regenning as fast as you're losing. So it is actually knocking you back. Now, if you find situations where there's a solo ship that you can wreck, hey, you do you, buddy. That guy's position sucked. But all you need, what I try to preach on the forum as just a basic concept for people to use, you just need an AA buddy. Just try to find one. Obviously, at tier 4, not going to fucking matter. At tier 6, probably not going to matter unless one of the planes has a fighter consumable or something. Because AA is still really gentle at tier 6 because it's a training tier.
Yeah.
But when you start getting into tier 8, when you start getting into tier 10, as long as you have an AA buddy, you're going to cause resource bleed. And I try to preach that on the forum. As far as, like, if you can get a third person, like, you don't need 6. You don't need a giant lemming ball of awful. You just need 2 or 3 people to become a hardened target that makes it legit. It's not fun to strike into that because you're going to be feeling it minutes later.
But then again, that's already 3 capitalist ships committed into a single spot.
Why
just
does it
to
have
deny
to be a capital ship?
Because DDs are not going to help.
It's
unless it's like a
two cruisers that like to
Haaland.
flank hang out together on a flank. Perfectly normal. A cruiser and a battleship hang out on a flank. Perfectly normal. Maybe the battleship's more
Yes,
open
of course,
water
but
and the cruiser is, but I mean, still, they are supporting each other. Having a
yeah,
third
but if
one, battleship and 2 cruisers. Hell, even a battleship, a cruiser, and a gunboat destroyer. Yes, it's a destroyer. Yes, its AA is not amazing. Why? Because a battleship is like 4 times the fucking size of it, so it has more guns. But it's still there. It still kicks in flak, which adds to the bullshit minigame, as well as chiseling in some additional priority sector damage, which is guaranteed damage and continuous.
yeah, but you're not gonna run out of planes for that. But you're gonna run. You're gonna kill them faster than before you can run out of planes.
Sure, but now you're starting to talk, okay, about the running out of planes thing. All right, so we talked about some AA stuff. We talked about time to kill stuff. Why is it that you are allowed in a CV to strike targets without, I have 50 planes. Who gives a shit if I throw away 10 or 15? So I strike this guy, I lose 20 planes, but I've regened like 7. So what? I'm down 13 planes. This motherfucker's dead. Our team's winning. How is this fair? Go fuck yourself. Sure, I can understand that line of logic if you just look at it as its face, but I believe, me personally, I believe that you have to look at it from a game design point of view. The game designer has decided, okay, let's add this carrier class into the game. Let's figure out some way to make this shit work. So the carrier player has to be able to interact with people. They can't just run around and dumpster everybody. So you're damage gated to prevent just running around killing everybody with your free planes. And 2, you have to respect the possibility of people being balled up, at least to an extent, but you still have to be able to get through to have a player-to-player interaction. So the tricky point is finding that middle ground where you're, as a CV, able to do something, cause resource loss, health bleed, whatever, or push somebody out of a position because they're scared of your torps, but you still need to take enough of a hit to make it feel like you're not just endlessly throwing out magic tricks.
From a game design perspective, that's literally only from the CV perspective. You have to look at it from the other side as well. And from there, you only see that the CV is just spawning plane after plane and just keeps on striking the entire game, and your A basically does nothing.
But I realize that's a perception, but just because it's a perception doesn't mean it's truth. That being said,
yes, of course,
perception is very important because it can be frustrating as fuck to be in that place. Have you ever played Magic? Have you ever played Magic the Gathering or
no? Sorry,
Hearthstone. I think a lot of people know Hearthstone. Okay,
I haven't played any card games other than, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh or something.
Well, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh, so I don't know that one. But a friend got me into Magic the Money Pit back when I was in like middle school. So I did that little thing for a while until I realized, holy shit, this is a scam, and then I just stopped. But there were basically just a really easy example on this is each turn you have the ability to use mana, for lack of a better term, to put creatures out on the battlefield. And your creatures can attack, or they can defend, or whatever. So you attack the enemy, you take his health, eventually you kill him. And use that by having creatures and doing stuff. Well, there are cards, basically magic spells, called instants. Which means that as long as you keep a little mana, a little money in your back pocket, so to speak, that if something happens that, shit, his really big creature is against my really weak creature, and I really don't want mine to die or something. Well, you might happen to have a card that you get to play it, and it's the fuck you big creature card or something. So you pull a little of that money out of your back pocket, and you play the thing, and it changes the outcome in your favor. That's not to say that the enemy can't do the same thing, pull some cash out of his back pocket, throw down a card, and counter your counter. I tend to look at CVs as instant cards. So I can see how it's frustrating to be put in a situation where, fuck, god damn it, this bastard torps me, and I either have to take it or I have to get citadeled. Fuck, he's not losing anything. Fuck this guy. I get it. But I tend to look at it in my head as an instant card. Instead of mana, instead of money, I'm throwing down planes. I'm given 40 planes. Here, bro, here's your allotment. Go figure it out. And I chuck down 4 planes, or I chuck down 10 planes to do a thing that causes a change on the battlefield, hopefully to my team's advantage. And the enemy CV has the same thing. Now, does it
Yes, of
suck
course.
to be the creature on the field or the surface ship in the water that's like, great, I get magic spells cast at me, I just want to do my thing, go fuck off. I get it. But in terms of back and forth interplay, it's a way to make people move. It's a way to affect the flow of battle and keep things dynamic, which is another thing that I enjoy about CV play, is that it adds to the randomness of the match. And I believe personally that free to play games, they have a shelf life. They have a lifespan. People get
Yes, of
bored,
course.
and you have to constantly keep innovating, keep making it a new, fresh situation. And people have already complained, wow, clan battles, it's always just the same fucking thing. Why don't you fix this, Ouija? Well, what do you want us to do? We can add carriers. Fuck you, no! Like, okay. Well, carriers, for lack of a better term, people described it to me like, I hate carriers because it changes the game. You know, I want to play checkers. I don't want to play chess. That's not a derogatory term toward checkers or chess. It's just, I want to
Yes, of
play
course.
I want to play this game that I know the rules. Everything functions in a certain way. I don't want to play the other one where you're adding extra rules in and I have to deal with this shit too. But it doesn't mean that the other game is bad. It just means that it's different. And unfortunately, I fall on the different side because I'm a CV main. Sorry, I talked a lot.
No, that's fine. Oh god, I lost my string of thoughts.
Well, you didn't sleep much. I didn't sleep much. Wee.
Yeah. To go back on the cost thing with the planes. The thing is, what exactly does the silver ship do to actually counter that? Because you said that the enemy and magic could actually just counter your counter, basically. So
In this case, it would be, sorry, just to expound on this real quick and I'll hand it right back to you. Either A, it's when two CVs are fighting over the same flank and they're constantly dropping fighters to cock block each other, which does happen, especially in like the ranked modes or something where there's only two flanks. So you're either on the same flank as the enemy CV or you're not. So there's that. And the other thing is, while you may not be playing an instant, quote unquote, on top of the other instant, by doing the same thing on another part of the map, you are still causing a change in the flow of battle. So as one person affects the west flank, your CV is affecting the east flank. It's still causing the pieces to move in a different way because of the way those strikes come off. Not to say that, I mean, the strikes could fuck up. They could result in nothing. That's possible. But ideally, the carrier is having an effect. The question is, are they both hitting the same area? Are they hitting other areas? Is there fighter cock blocking? It's more in that idea. But back to you.
well, first of all, you can actually cheese fighters because they don't attack bailing wings. So if you're gonna pay 3 planes anyway, so to let's just say you're paying 3 planes to attack a target anyway, and you can just strike through. You have a wing of 6, you just strike through it.
Sure.
But
Well, I mean, fighters do have a small impact. Like if you're trying to bomb a grosser Kurfürst or something in the MVR, you can bomb through that. You can try to heal through the fighters because they'll latch before you get the bombs off. Sure,
yes,
but it does
I mean,
enforce more bleed. Like if you're going to take the fight, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah,
for
but
it.
if you can just shorten before, and like if you know if you have seen the enemy carrier just fly through the area, you can basically assume that the has put a fighter down.
Sure.
So you just shorten down to the minimal viable squad, and you're not really losing anything that you wouldn't have lost anyway.
In the case of bombers, I don't know if that works though. Because
German bombers could do it. Normal dive bombers probably not.
Because I tend to find
Royal Navy bombers could probably do it.
Carpet bombers, I would go with, sure. But the dive bombers and the German bombers, I don't know because they have to start above the ship and linger above the ship, and that linger is usually long enough for the fighter to latch and start shooting. So I think you take pretty much guaranteed damage at that point. You can try to mitigate it with a heal a little bit.
On the other hand, fighter interaction actually changes when you're in an attack run. Like when your reticle goes green. They fairly early, and actually no, that was actually towards the end of 2019, I think, that they changed fighter damage from random plane distribution to a single target, just like A.
Yeah. Well,
But that actually changes
I don't think I
when
don't.
you're locked in green, when your reticle turns green, so that it actually gets distributed over the whole squadron, which is
Oh, really?
really weird.
Oh,
But
I didn't know that. I've seen instances where fighters latched and like 3 to 4 planes took damage at the same time. So what I assumed is that the fighter took a snapshot of your squadron's current whatever, because it looks to
no,
kill
it's
X
actually a
amount.
DPS value. It's actually a DPS value. It actually differs per tier 2. Like Kaga fighters are actually a lot weaker than the typical tier 8 fighters because they're tier 6.
No.
They actually deal damage more slowly. You can actually check it.
Well, okay, in DPS output maybe, but they still result in a plane kill.
Yes, of course, but if you I have a video of this actually,
Well, I knew
but
they actually.
that's more of a cheese strategy.
I'm not surprised that you say that, because the dev stuff that came out where there was like you can get a patrol fighter option or something where it deals the damage 5 times faster, but it can't spot ships. So basically, you can't heal through it. I did see that there was something about that. So yeah, I guess the mechanics just work that way. The one thing I found was novel is if the plane that you have all the way on the end is red, has like 5% of its health left, and there's one fighter that latches, he just does the 5% and kills it and bails, because he guaranteed, oh,
Yep.
it's dead. So it's like it takes a snapshot of, you need this much damage and I'm going to do that much damage and then I'm gone.
No, the DPS value is just really, really high on high tier fighters. So, but if it gets distributed over the entire squadron that you still have left, you actually often have enough time to still execute a full strike. Especially since your attacking squadron actually gets 50% damage reduction.
Yeah, I knew about that. I didn't know that it goes to the entirety of the squadron, because I guess all the planes remain green. So maybe it doesn't hit the value where it shows yellow. So I just didn't assume it was that. But interesting. Okay, sorry. We were talking about
No, no
cards, and
problem.
then I interrupted you because I'm an asshole. And it
That's
was
fine.
like card over here, card over there, talking about something, then fighters, and do you remember where you were?
Oh God.
Sorry, man.
Something about counters, I think, where with the surface ship. Like the issue is that the surface ship really has no. Like you're killing a surface ship. You're paying planes, but you're killing a surface ship, which is always in your favor. Basically.
Well, of course. You wouldn't do something on your team that's going to hurt you.
Yes, of course. But for example, if you're engaging a surface ship with a surface ship, you can actually shoot back and kill you too.
That's correct. That's why I liken the carrier interaction to instance, because there's not a carrier there's not a creature on the field to have the interaction with. It's an outside
Yes.
It's an outside addition. Like the
Yes,
hull
of course.
almost doesn't even need to be on the field. You could almost pretend that the planes just came in on the edge of the map and flew in somewhere.
That's actually one of the balancing suggestions I did.
Well, you could theoretically do it, but at least having the hull on the field means you have the ability to threaten the hull and kill basically the instant caster. So,
yeah, but that's a pretty negligible threat.
I mean, sure,
In most
the
cases.
player should move to mitigate it, but I mean, if a flank falls and the CV lags behind, or if people decided not to defend it, or if the CV is able to light it and the enemy team has enough crossfire to just rip the bitch apart at long range, like there are ways to deal with the CV there that you can do with coordinated play. It's kind of mitigated by tier 10 because the decks are so armored, but certainly in tier 8, I mean, hell, there was the CV with Amagi? No, not that. Fuck. Whatever the tier 9 Yamato is. The Musashis?
The Musashi, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a carrier and 2 Musashis. The carrier would go light the enemy CV,
No, yeah,
and then the
that was
Musashis
spawn
would just...
peeking.
Yeah, and then it would
But
just kill
that
it.
actually, yes, of course. But you could actually, well, depending on map size, like on the smallest map, it wouldn't work. But unlike the medium-sized to bigger maps, you could actually just, if you saw a division like that, you had to turn around and move immediately.
So,
and that's actually a viable counter to that.
so
Because then the 26 or something second shell flight time and it's not gonna be enough to hit you if you just keep moving.
Okay. So I'm going to take a detour because I think we
Yeah,
hit
sure.
that because I don't know how to go further with that point. There's a guy in chat, El2aZeR, who says the problem with the game shouldn't be The problem is the game shouldn't be decided by the CV with 11 other players that basically don't matter. Do you agree with that?
To an extent, like default losses still happen because random MM. Like you can have the most amazing Super Unicum CV player on your team, but if your 11 other players are complete fucking idiots, while the enemy team has a trash CV but has everyone else a Super Unicum, that's not gonna matter. But on the other hand, CVs do actually achieve the highest solo win rates by quite the margin. So and the skill gap is definitely still there. In my opinion, it's actually increased compared to RTS.
Well, I think
And
is the skill cap increased, but the influence decreased.
I wouldn't say so, no. So for
because I've seen RTS carrier play on some videos, and like that shit was some scary stuff.
yeah,
Man.
it's just RTS carriers, but we're by no means balanced. Like let's not kill ourselves. But the thing is, RTS carriers had counters. Like you could just literally wipe out squadron after squadron with something like a Fletcher if you A expected, which honestly was also really stupid. And against the reworked CV, that doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
And the damage potential is about the same if you're, if not faster, depending on your target and the CV you're playing. Like the spotting is definitely lower, and as for fighter interaction, yeah, it no longer exists. But now, whereas previously a Unicum CV would have deplaned the potato with fighters, that potato is not just gonna deplane himself by flying directly into flag. So that hasn't really changed either.
Okay, so for my end on the CV is the one that decides the match, and the 11 other players don't matter. I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. It's what I do. Rawr. I see, every ship has its unique role. The battleship has tons of health, armor, it's resilient. The battleship fortifies a section on the map. It takes
Yep.
it claims it, I'm here, fuck you, dislodge me.
Yep.
A cruiser adds to, or I don't know. It's a weird intro. I guess maybe I'll say destroyer next. Destroyers claim space and threaten space. So
Yep.
they can take caps unseen, they can take flanks unseen, they can threaten with torps. A single destroyer that's unspotted can abort an entire flank of 4 ships from moving forward, not because they couldn't do it, but because if you're the hostage and there are 5 other hostages, you don't want to be the guy that the asshole shoots when all 6 of you rush them. So
Yep.
all 6 of you just sit there being hostages to a guy that only has 1 gun. So because of that, the hostage mentality, people are just like, well, fuck.
Yeah, of
And they
course.
just sit there and wait. And then you have the cruiser, which is something in between. They do threaten stuff. They also kind of fortify stuff.
It also depends on the cruiser, I suppose.
Yeah, it does. And some cruisers have consumables that kind of help them threaten and claim the space, whereas whatever. So, and then to me, I have the CV, which does not claim space, which actually I was talking about when I was looking at the FDR, because it almost feels like it does with just having the 14 planes just kind of like live in a section of the map for a while. But to me, the CV threatens space, but it doesn't claim anything. It can't claim caps by
Yes, of
landing
course, it
planes
can
on
claim, but on the other hand, it has the highest threat in the entire game. Like this,
Well,
if I'm on a flank, I know that flank is gonna fall. It's just gonna take me time,
yeah, but
depending on how many ships there are on the
it's an
flank.
attrition-based game, though. Like, people lose health and they die. You run out of health, people go down, shit falls. So sure, I mean, again, we have to recognize that you're one of the best players in the game. So if it's you versus another CV, it's really likely that you're going to outplay the other CV and be able to whittle down and take the flank. Sure, I think we can agree with that. Just like if you've got one of the best players in the game on a Slava on that flank, He's not going to miss shots. He's going to nail them all. He's going to fuck up the enemy team much faster than they fuck up him, and they're going to also break the flank. So, like, it's similar in
for
a
example,
way.
just because there's a super unicum in a Slava doesn't mean angling suddenly becomes ineffective.
Yes, that is true. Although
On the other hand,
Slavas don't have to shoot AP, but
yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
But for example, there's a super unicum DD. There's only so many moves he can make against the CV, and honestly, it really doesn't matter all that much.
There you go. So, only some of the link came through, but that's a link to.
Well, that's weird.
That's a link to him. If somebody wanted to look up his PR is much better than mine. I play the game differently, and I don't think I'll ever approach the numbers he has. Okay. As far as the threatening stuff, the reason I say that is, how do I put this? Okay, I'll use an example that I stated in the other one. Way back when CVs were less balanced than they are now. So I don't remember what patch it was, but it was, one of the ones way back there. And it wasn't too uncommon to see multiple CV things. Can you post the link? I don't think I know how to tell you to be able to post the link, but if you want to whisper it to me and tell me what the hell it is, I can post it for you. Yeah, I don't know how to give you a permit. So sorry, man. I'm still new to this Twitch shit. I just stream warships and people show up and watch me. So like, I don't have the cool bot and all the nifty noises and stuff. I'm pretty fortunate about that. But the long reason, so the example I give is we were on a team where their 2 DDs got run down and killed. Obviously, their 2 CVs were run down and killed. Ours were not. There were five ships on their team, 5 ships on our team. And once those 2 CVs died, somebody in our chat was like, "Well, we fucking win now. We've got planes.
I can see what's happening. Yeah.
And all 5 of their ships were together, and they just moved in basically a lemming train, kind of. But I mean, it's the end of the match, so it just happens. One flank wins. That flank is together. They move together. So we had 2 CVs that, okay, we got in there. There's 6k damage. There goes 9 planes. And we go back in there. Wham! There's 10k damage. There goes 9 planes. Whoa. Guess I don't have any planes. Fuck. They've got 5 surface ships with guns. We've got 3. They killed the surface ships, then they killed us and took the game. So that's one of the part of the threaten that I look at. The other one is there are situations where I can be in a CV and you get one of those games where the enemy team has the caps, they have the points. You're not going to be able to just outkill the point bleed if they've got triple caps or something.
Yes, of course.
So it's like you hit the fuck it point and you just run the hull into the cap because what else can you do? So
the thing is any other class capable of turning that situation?
DDs can flip caps if there's nobody there to influence them otherwise. They're absolutely excellent at that. Some cruisers are, depending on how low their detection is or if they have any kind of
but your enemy is already taking all caps. He probably has, if he has taken all caps, he's probably got map control. If he has got map control, trying to get a cap is going to be really difficult at best.
But when it's like, when you're in that last 5 minutes of a game and there's a lot of people dead, all things are possible through Christ. Like,
Yes, of course, but if you've already lost all caps pretty early, I would say that's a default loss. Like, there's literally no way you can actually win that, regardless of what class or ship you're playing.
I don't know. To me, that comes off as a professional analyzing a professional situation, and I've been in too many matches to say that shit is supposed to make sense. So, like.
No, I've been there.
Yeah, it's such a different world when you're analyzing professionals going against each other, and a single mistake leads to a snowball that's just a fucking slaughter. And then you're in a random match where, okay, you have 4 ships, they have 10, and then they have 8, and then they have 3. What? How are we not dead?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens, right? It does. So it's just in situations where you want to your CV cannot claim space or hold space in the same way as a surface ship can. Basically, when the CV's hull or when the CV's location is challenged, typically the only thing the CV does is fucking run.
Yes.
Sometimes, bow tank like a champ, be the hero you want to be, or maybe if you've got secondaries, go do some secondary memes or something, and maybe your health pool is enough to influence. But in general, the CV just nopes the fuck out, while
Yes, of course.
other things are able to be on the map, existing on the map, taking places, threatening angles, doing shit. So,
But on the other hand, as a CV, you can actually, if it has already come to the point, you've probably lost the match anyway. Like,
well, nobody
but
wins everything.
yes, of course, this is literally not possible. Like, even the best Super Unicum divisions playing the most broken ass ships in the game can only in apostrophes get about 90% win rate. Like, default losses still happen. It's just the nature of randoms. But as a CV, you can just you can strike earlier than any other ship. You can just deny a map control at the beginning of the match, and if
Well, I don't know
if
about
your team
deny.
isn't,
You can threaten. You can force them. If you want to take this, you're lit. Do you want to deal with the repercussions of this? It doesn't mean they won't do it.
no, you can just kill it yourself.
Yeah, but we just talked about doing like solo kills can be a bitch. Maybe it wasn't a bitch against DDs, for instance, not too long ago. But by the way, well, okay, that's actually part of the thing. So we can kind of move ahead a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. So we talked about some AA stuff. We talked about devs nerfing AA. We talked about 2 Des Moines is not scary. We talked about. You said Holland AA is not strong. That's got to be a
It
thing on
isn't.
itself.
Like Holland A is strong until you actually attack it, because Holland A is mostly concentrated into mid-range mode, which is only distributed over 7 mounts.
Sure.
So if you attack once and just take off 1 mount and attack like about 2 or 3 times successfully,
Sure.
and take off 3 or 4 mounts, then Holland A is no longer scary.
So how do you hit the Holland? If the
But just
Holland is
attacking it.
played well.
Holland actually has mediocre air detection at 2.5, which is within the strike range of certain rockets. Hakuyu can't do it. I don't think Audacious can do it. Midway can do it. Shokaku nowadays can. Enterprise obviously can.
Yeah, Enterprise is its own special little snowflake of balance. But
oh god, and Enterprise balancing was terrible.
yeah, the Enterprise has what the Lexington used to have 2 patches ago, and is still able to use it and do nasty things with it. But I guess I have a question for you. I think you might have mentioned something about the rocket rework. I don't know. It might be in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the rocket rework has mattered at all? I do. I
A
absolutely do.
Like certain Haku rockets were always RNG, and they still are RNG. So who cares? Audacious has also been kind of RNG, at least for me. I know other people have different experiences with it, but now the reticles.
I'll agree that the Audacious was RNG, but if you had the ability to line up and fully lock in that reticle, you expected to do 7 to 9k damage against a DD, 9 to 12 against a cruiser. You expected that. Sometimes you were unpleasantly surprised that nope, but against a fresh hull that wasn't saturated, absolutely. And there was actually the best hit I ever had on Audacious. There was a gearing that left his AA on, spotted himself, and then he turned it off real quick, but I knew where he was, so I started the strike, fully zoomed in, and nailed that bitch for like 16,000, which was, I realized, absolutely atrociously miserable for that dude, but that was a highlight of my life. So,
but on the other hand, I don't feel like Audacious now punishes broadsides. I've had dumbass like an I don't know a Öland or something, which the tier 8 or European thing, which gave me full broadside. I had the reticle fully locked in, and it was like 3k or something. Like that thing has just turned into full RNG garbage.
Yeah, it's the Audacious. One of its highlights, it used to be its carpet bombs were its cool little shtick, but Its thing
Yeah.
was it had highly maneuverable torps, which was mwah, and still is, and then it
Yeah.
had really consistent rockets, and now it just doesn't. It
Yep.
has this
No, it's
weird,
just
weird vomit that just kind of goes in a direction, and you hope that something happens. And
yep.
I swear they made it take like the reticle is even further out than it used to be before.
I have
So
no idea about that, but
it's
on the other hand, the reticle now is literally a circle.
no,
Like
it is not.
it's not.
It is
I'm
not.
fairly sure it is. I'm
Nope.
fairly sure. I think Top Tier made a video on it, and on the vertical side it was a circle.
Well, then I'm sorry, but it's not. So it whether the reticle looks like a circle or hell may in fact be a circle, the rocket dispersion within that circle is
Yes, of
heavily
course.
biased to a broadside way. So even if the reticle may look like that, the rockets in practicality it is not.
Yes.
But the reason why I ask you about the rocket reticle stuff is so I've been playing on stream for about 2 months now, I think,
Yeah,
something
sure.
like that. And I'm pretty sure I started literally a day after the rocket shit came in because I started
Oh boy.
playing stuff like, oh, ooh, this sucks. Played the Saipan. Oh my
Oh
god,
boy.
what is
Yeah. Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Um,
Like Tiny Tims got fucked really hard.
oh yes, they did.
Um, I found them like this complete RNG vomit on Midway. Like Midway HVRs are already RNG vomit. Tiny Tims were really really good before the Rocket Nova. Now they're just garbage.
Yeah. I miss the flexibility that they gave. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was not one of those people that would say like, "Oh man, I Tiny Tim against destroyers, bruh. Every shot's 8,500. It's amazing." Yeah, fuck you. That's bullshit. I've gotten perfect shots on destroyers time after time to watch whiff, one rocket, whiff, 9K. Where the hell did that come from? Whiff, son of a bitch. So, like, no.
I think my highlight was actually I don't know, it was like 13K against the Haaland, which immediately lost both top tubes or something. That was really funny. But I digress.
Those are
Like,
outliers, but I mean, when it happens, man,
yeah,
oh.
it's funny. But the thing is, they don't really reward angling so much that you're now just praying to RNG, which is, in my opinion, really stupid.
Well, so I guess if you look at
And then of course there's stuff like the Shokaku, which just got an amazing buff out of it because now it has Enterprise accuracy and it just murders DDs left and right.
well, if the Ds are broadside.
No, it just even if they are angled like even if they're full bow in or something, you can easily get like 4 or 5K or something.
I don't know about easily.
Which you could previously get with vertical dispersion too, like. But now if they're actually broadside, where you previously would also get 5 or 6K damage, now you get like 9, 10K, and it is ridiculous.
Shikaku got the Lexington reticle, but still has the
No,
shitty...
it's actually an Enterprise reticle now.
Well,
So
the Enterprise reticle and the Lexington reticle were the same. When they made the reticle change, they initially moved the Lexington reticle onto the Shikaku because it worked. It was already in the game. And then they moved the Midway HVAR reticle onto the Lexington, which was like, what is this?
No, I'm actually pretty sure they never particularly changed the Lexington reticle. I have to recheck that.
There was a time where I used it and I saw the Midway reticle, and I got really mad because the Lexington was a ship I'd played hundreds of battles in. I took it into situations where even, like the strategist on the competitive team I'm on was like, don't bring that. No, trust me, it's good. I'm telling you, don't bring that. Well, I'm bringing it anyway, so deal with it.
Oh,
and
God.
Then we killed everything because the Lexington's fucking great. But
yeah,
they changed the reticle and they basically just took the Midway reticle, which is awful. Well, even the one before whatever the change was, I don't know if they changed it, but they moved that onto the Lexington. It was like,
oh yeah, that was at the beginning. Yeah,
kidding me. And
no,
then
I remember.
I guess maybe a week in, oh no, this is god awful. They changed it to a more friendly Lexington reticle. That's not what it used to be, but it's workable now, which is good.
Yeah, I remember. I remember now. That was very early.
So for people that have come in, because some of the viewers, I guess, have been hanging out, the whole way. The link unfortunately kind of sucks because it breaks. But if you just kind of scroll, copy paste or something, this is El2aZeR. He is one of the top EU CVs. I don't know technically how well that shit ranks out or blah blah blah, but if you look at his page, it's a wall of purple. So he knows what the fuck he's doing. He's been doing this for many battles.
Oh god, it's almost 2 years at this point if you include testing.
His favoritist CV seems to be the Enterprise, which I think we
Oh
can
yeah,
all
for
agree.
for a perfectly mundane reason. Like I don't like it because it's overpowered, although that's part of it.
Well, it feels good. It feels really nice. The rocket, the movement, the
Yeah.
aiming, it feels nice. I hate the AP bombs. Fuck them. I haven't learned how to make them not suck dick yet. But I just got
like 'em.
mine in the summer crate container thing.
Oh,
So
boy.
it's still new for me. So anyway.
Enterprise. We should actually talk about enterprise balancing because that has been a goddamn shit show. Because Enterprise used to be the worst at the beginning of the real Enterprise used to be the worst performing CV premium CV despite actually being overpowered. Because most of the people who had Enterprise were obviously RTS mains back then, and most of them obviously didn't like the real and just sold it. And then you had just the mediocre players left who were just trying it, and then there was me, because the difference between me on Maple Syrup and the second guy on the leaderboard was like 20-30% win rate. It was ridiculous. And someone actually calculated that if I had not played Enterprise on EU, the Enterprise would have actually fallen below the tech tree CVs in terms of win rate. Because I actually raised the win rate so much by like 2-3% globally, which was. And then obviously Wargaming saw that Enterprise was not performing very well, despite actually the CV was really good. No one skilled was playing it. And because Wargaming balances are on average, says, hey, here come the buffs, which she totally doesn't need. And yeah. And like, when did they declare premium CVs as finished? It was very early. I think it was only 2 months after they released it.
I think that might have been before my time. I don't remember anything about them being finished. I do remember that the Enterprise got removed after they did the speed change.
Yes. Which was very, very late. I'm actually surprised it took them that long.
Yeah, I think that was patch 8.3. Can you get his full,
full
8.3
username?
What? It's, well, I'll just spell it in capital letters. And that's on the EU server. It's in the copy paste. It's just not highlighted, so when you click it, it doesn't, just take you right there. You have to actually manually, because there's a comma and it freaks out.
Yeah, it was only they actually declared premium CV balancing as finished only 2 months, because that was at the end of April. CV rework started at the beginning of February, so it's 2 to 3 months, which is of course ridiculous as well.
Yeah, it obviously took them a long time to really tune it in.
No, I actually think it was way too short. Like they were nowhere near balanced.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it took them a long time to really tune CVs into the game. So yeah, declaring victory after a month and a half or something. Don't know about that one. Yeah, so there was something I was gonna ask. Okay, so hopping back from the Enterprise, now that the reticle changes have happened for rockets, every time when I stream, I kind of look over the field. What are we going against? These are these things. This is that. And I'll describe, this is what we can affect. This is what we can't. This is what we have to try to monitor. And there are situations where I just can't deal with DDs. I can't. I mean, I can scratch them for 2 to 4K or something, but when they have 20,000 health, other than being annoying, I'm not guaranteeing a kill. I need assistance to guarantee a kill, because the reticle change to me has made it consistently more obnoxious to try to deal with a destroyer, and it's kind of guiding the CV away from spending time being ineffective toward moving to something where you're actually providing a result.
Maybe. Yeah, kind of depends on the CV you're playing.
Well, I can agree with that, but I have noticed there are more games than well, a hell of a
Like
lot more games than there used to be, where
Yeah.
some of the last ships alive on the enemy team or on my team are destroyers. And
Oh boy, that's actually the
that's,
opposite of mine.
well, yeah, but I know you play a lot of Enterprise, so
No, I mean, I play like three. I play like three consistently. I've recently picked up Hakuyu, but I usually play Enterprise a lot because I don't know. It's my favorite ship historically. I'm a weeb.
okay.
If it wasn't obvious from my profile picture already.
So I'm going. Go ahead.
I play Midway because I just like it. Like people say it's weak. I don't know.
Oh
And
no! I played.
no, it's not weak. It's far
I,
from weak.
I played Midway most of the Tier 10 clan battle season. I only switched to
Oh yeah, I
Hikaru at
heard
the
that.
end because I was told to. Well, basically, we changed what we were doing. I used the Midway on the contested side.
Yeah, I
But
heard that.
yeah,
And
so
you use the duration thing with the fighters and just
yes,
spotted.
yeah, we used that
Um,
a lot.
and then I played Shokaku, which just got an amazing buff basically. But like Midway, I actually had to change up my playstyle. I basically nowadays I slot the legendary module because DDs are pretty much the only class that really feel the alpha difference.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the speed is nice. And now the rockets are obviously trash, so you just barely use them. The TBs still have heal, so the extra health is not really that much. That doesn't matter that much. So
Yeah,
slotting the legendary module on the 6th slot is actually pretty good. And I just use the dive bombs to go after the DDs, which is less consistent than with the previous Tiny Tims, which I will freely admit. But if you know how to aim, like Midway bombers have a 75-25 accuracy bias, which means the bombs are more likely to go on the outside of the reticle.
correct.
And
Yeah, I think they changed that around
so
8.4.
yeah, somewhere along the line they changed the reticle and then changed the accuracy bias,
Yeah, so
which previously was the same as
yeah, so
as IGN.
So what he's saying is the reticle used to actually aim the bombs toward the center, but it would disperse
Yep.
away from the center. So if you just put a DD in the center of your reticle, you just fucking destroyed them.
Yeah.
So they went, ooh, that's not a good idea. So they changed it so that the bombs, start at the outer ring and disperse inward. So what that means is when you're bombing a battleship, the bombs will fall around the superstructure for the most part, around the guns for the most part. So it's actually very effective against battleships and is helpful. Against cruisers, it enforces a dispersion so that you average maybe 2 to 4 bombs against a cruiser as opposed to like really just getting a lot, because the thinner profile of the cruiser doesn't fill up the whole reticle and the bombs generally space better. And then against destroyers, because again, the bombs are forcibly spaced out for the most part, RNG happens, that you expect somewhere between 0 and 2 bombs per drop. Average of 1,
Yeah,
you
but,
might get 2,
if
0 happens at times.
if you just put the DD more towards the outside of the reticle, like so that it like fills up, I don't know, the right side of the reticle, it's actually a lot more likely to get 3 or 4 hits, rather than if you put it in the middle and everything lands, your bombs just land around and you get 0 and you get nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're
It
putting
is still RNG, but you can make your chances better with that.
well, technically, if you're saying that you put the DD on the left side of the reticle, then you're taking a 50-50 shot. So why would a 50-50
yes.
shot net you more bombs than average? Why would you
Because-
expect to get that?
Because midway bombs have a, as I said already, they more disperse more to the outside.
Sure.
So if you just put it in the middle, your bombs are more likely to just land around them and get 0 hits.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you have the reticle, if you have a left side and a right side, if you fill, granted you can't fill a DD in that reticle, because more like a cruiser you could. But if you quote unquote filled the left side of the reticle, half of the reticle, why would you expect to get 4 bomb hits? Why would you expect most of the bombs to happen to pick the 50-50 shot that you happen to be bombing? Like,
Well, it's just
theoretically, there'd be an even chance of you get 2 or you get 4 because it's a 50-50 shot. You're using half of the reticle.
Yes, of course. But there's like a 50-50 chance is better than a 75-25 chance.
Sure.
So basically, which
it's more consistent, I guess.
Yes. But I've noticed that this is purely based on gameplay experience. I don't have the science to back it up. Obviously, I would have to do a lot of testing with that.
Sure.
But in my experience, if I just pick a side and just aim towards the outside of the reticle so that the DD is basically more on the edge,
Yeah.
then I find that I actually get a lot of hits, and even just 2 bomb hits with the legendary module is just 8k damage. That's a little less than half. Then usually a little less than half his HP.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to land, I mean, just as kind of an aside but related, whenever I load into a game and there's 2 CVs on both sides, I do point out I'm not a fan of doubling the CVs. The reason being, CVs are designed to be very accurate but gated damage. And when you double the number of CVs, you have a very accurate double damage, which is just going to blow through what the gate is. So then you've completely unbalanced the concept by just basically doubling what you shouldn't have doubled. And I realize, I personally think that wargaming has probably a lot of information on matchmaking studies. If people get into a game in 20 seconds, they're more likely to play a follow-up game.
Yeah,
if somebody's in queue for a minute 30, they're 50-50 chance they play another game, stuff like that, so that I assume they feel a lot of pressure toward trying to keep the matchmaking weight low. But I really think that the concept is designed. It's very accurate, but it has gated damage, and when you double the damage, you just totally fuck up the numbers, which is no fun. Okay, I was gonna do what am I doing? El2aZeR, who has said a lot. I haven't read everything you've said, man, because I get lost in the conversation, but he has been saying a lot of stuff. Are we saying that, or am I trying to say that not having a guaranteed kill on destroyers means CVs are perfectly fine now? No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that, well, like I just mentioned, CVs are an incredibly accurate class. It's one thing to chuck shells at something from 8 clicks away or 12 clicks away or 22 clicks away and whatever the fuck ship you're in, and you throw 12 shells at it, you hit with 4. And for the most part, you don't really get to predict where they're going to land. You just kind of chuck it at the thing and hope that it hits the thing where you want it to hit. You don't have the accuracy for that. To an extent, I think the Slava kind of does, which makes it really unique and frankly really strong because it has that accuracy. But a CV, on the other hand, gets really up close and personal. It gets a knife fighting range, man. So if you're able to really point those rockets where you want them to go, they're going to go where you want them to go. If you can fit the reticle onto a target and bomb it, again, there's some randomness in the reticle, but like if you're bombing a battleship and the reticle fits on top of the battleship, he's going to take all the bombs. That's pretty much what's going to occur. So you can use that accuracy to force a situation. And because of the rather low health pool and low recovery of said health pool, because most DDs don't have heals, the accuracy made a really awkward situation for destroyers because you are against a highly accurate, laser guided fuck you missile, and you don't have the health to survive many of them, so you die. Well, with the rocket change coming in, yes, Midway, Lexington, they still have bombs. Okay, that's a thing that works. The Ark Royal, it's got carpet bombs, which are fucking abusive to destroyers. Let's just be straight up. That's pretty fucking nasty. But in general, the rocket change has pulled a lot of potential pressure off of destroyers. Because instead of knowing that you're going to hit hits that are going to really, this is going to do something, this is going to get a kill, this is going to knock this DD down, now you can't guarantee that in the same way that you could before. It's not that it can't happen, but there's a hell of a lot less chance of it happening. So you have to start looking.
I would more say that it takes you longer to the point where it becomes inefficient.
Yeah, basically, where if you could deal with a DD in the past with 2 or 3 strikes, well then absolutely. You can remove a highly influential piece from the board. You're not spending a lot of time. You're not spending a lot of planes. Absolutely, dude, fucking make the move, get the kill. But when you change it to, oh my God, I've got to hit this dude I'm shooting at him 3 times. I chiseled maybe 5k health off of him. Fuck. Okay, now I gotta fly all the way back to do it again. Yeah, the motherfucker's still alive. Like, it's a difference between putting 2 minutes toward a task and putting 6 to 7 minutes toward a task, which changes the whole efficiency bracket, as opposed to what is the opportunity cost? What could you have done in that time? As
Yes,
opposed
but
to just working on this one single piece on the board. And I really think the reticle change has changed that back and forth to the DD's favor, which I don't think is a bad thing, because it allows the DD to be more of a surface thing doing DD things, because they pulled some of the threat out. That's my thought.
personally, I think like the idea was decent. The execution is a bit lacking. Like, like it's just an RNG fest with most rockets now. Like with at least Audacious. I said that I recently picked up the Hakuyu, and just like giving Hakuyu Shokaku rockets would literally be the biggest buff ever, because the rockets on the Hakuyu are just so ludicrously inconsistent, and always have been.
Yes, they are really weird. Like,
Yeah,
they had a nice small circle, and yet even with that, it was just what?
yeah.
What
That's
just
because
happened?
actually Hakuyu fires the same volume of fire as the Shokaku, but does it over a much larger area, which is just it doesn't lend itself to consistency.
Okay. So forgive me to keep diving into chat, but I mean, I do feel he's asking some pretty decent questions. And okay, so El2aZeR follows up with, the main question I wanted to get an answer from you, though, is do you think that CVs are the strongest class of ships and should be nerfed, or no? If not, how do you justify that the best battleship, DD, cruiser player, whatever, will still lose 50% more games than the best CV player? That's a huge disparity in stats that I can only see clearly shows the CV is overpowered. First thing, I would ask you, El2aZeR, where are you getting that number from?
He's
Because
probably got it from me.
oh, okay. Well, so if you're aware of this number, then can you
No,
start?
I mean he has the win rate, like the top win rate from me. Because as far as I know, I haven't seen like Gaishu comes fairly close to me. Actually, I think Gaishu has higher midway win rate than I do.
Gaishu is like Faker to WoWs. I mean, I know I'm going out
Yeah,
on a limb to
I know.
I'm
I'm just
going
saying.
out on a limb to say that, but like Gaishu is his own firm of like worships Jesus that just descends amongst the mortals and does things. Not to say that he doesn't lose, but he exists
Yes,
on
of
a
course.
level that I don't personally understand.
Yes, but it is actually true that like the ceiling of CVs is much higher, because well, some Gaishu and I are simple proof of that, and Nock as well, and maybe a few other guys that I currently can't name. But like typically in a silver ship, the maximum solo win rate you can get over a representative amount of battles is typically 75%. About that, so beyond to go beyond that is fairly rare. While the best CV players, meanwhile, can usually get 80 or more. Like it doesn't seem like a small percentage, but obviously, in terms of top player percentage, 5% win rate is a pretty big deal.
Sure. I mean, if you're able to skew the stats that far in your favor by your play, that's absolutely huge. Sure.
So yes, I would say current. Well, there are some CVs which I would say are more balanced, like the Royal Navy ones, because they're just weaker.
They're built special.
Yeah, let's just say they're special. um, so,
Well,
and
okay.
here's why I think the concept is broken, because CVs really can't be weaker, or aka more balanced or special, whatever, and more popular at the same time, because Royal Navy CV popularity is down the drain. Let's not kid about that. I think they're actually played less than RTS, and something like a Saipan, which is really high skill floor, fairly, but like that thing is barely played anymore.
Sure, it's a hard fucking ship to play.
Yeah, I know. Like as soon as you raise, like we've actually seen this at 0.85 where AA got really strong, Like most CV players just outright quit to the point where on EU at least the rework actually became less popular than RTS was the year before. Which, yeah, I think that kind of proves to me, and I think that's why Wargaming dialed down the A so hard. And what was it in the following patch or the patch after that? Is that CV's the rework concept cannot be balanced and popular at the same time, and that's just terrible. That just points towards terrible game design.
Here's something that I could say in response to this win rate stuff. The best surface ship player as opposed to the best CV player. What's the difference? Does that make the ship OP? What does a CV bring? A CV brings flexibility. So if I'm playing the CV and I'm watching the map and I see, there's a situation on the left, I can go over and try to help the situation, try to diffuse the situation, and then leave it back to the players over on the left flank to resolve the situation. And then there's a situation on the right, and you can go over and you can help the situation, try to diffuse the situation,
yes,
and blah, blah, blah. So you have the ability as somebody that's very, very maneuverable, hyper maneuverable. You don't have large damage impacts, which I'm sure people will snort at. CVs don't do damage, are you fucking high? But in general, you send your little gift package over to one flank, and you fuck someone up to the tune of about 10 or 15k. And then you send your little gift package somewhere else. It's not that you went over there and you deleted a ship. It's not that you went over there and dev-struct something. It's that you went over there and you influenced and you tried to bring things back into like a recoverable situation. So in that case, the best CV players are probably the ones that are best able to read the map and
yes, of course,
have the ability to reach out and actually try to affect and, piss on the fire to try to put it out. And then do that same thing within just a minute and a half later to a different section of the map, blah, blah, blah. So if you have somebody that's really aggressively reading the map, seeing the fires that they need to pee on, then you have somebody that's able to have a strong influence. But the influence is gated by the CV hull positioning, how far they have to fly, how much damage is required to put out the fire. So there's some mitigating factors, but in general, you're offering a tool to an extremely capable player, because we're talking about the best, that they can reach out and actually diffuse time bombs, versus you have an amazing fucking battleship player. Okay, well, if there's a time bomb ticking and he's currently in a position dealing with this flank and there's an island between him and that thing, well, fuck. I can't help that time bomb, but I can keep working my flank. Or you have a DD die on the other flank, and now suddenly, shit, they're going to push. I'm in a DD, but I'm on this flank. Fuck, I can't go over there and change that. So like, because you are position limited by the being in the surface ship, and you can't just teleport across the fucking map, you may be the best person and be the best and be able to win that flank and do amazing shit, but you're still confined to the space that you're in. Now, I personally would like to point out that, a battleship theoretically can dev strike every 30 seconds. Obviously, that's not going to happen because of dispersion and angling and blah, 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 but you have the potential to beat the shit out of something every 30 seconds. A CV does not have that. So you don't get to just like fucking go somewhere, own everything, and then go somewhere and own everything there. You're just trying to chip in your little something to defuse the time bomb. And frankly, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's not enough.
Yeah, obviously. But the thing about CV damage potential in particular is because it kind of breaks the it breaks the way weapons are usually balanced in this game. Like usually, something like torpedoes. Like torpedoes are really easy to avoid. So they have an extremely long reload, the highest reload in the entire game usually, and they're delivered usually by So the risk factor is actually somewhat low, but you can't just teleport your torpedoes across the map or something. So they have limited range. It takes really long to actually reach a target, and so they have a long reload. So that's why they get high alpha damage. While Battleship AP is obviously really damaging, but on the other hand, it is also easily mitigated by either dodging or just angling. So that kind of balances out. Whereas CVs have the highest flexibility, they have the highest accuracy. The damage potential is by no means low. Like usually,
I think
let's pick Lexing torpedoes on a single attack.
I think aggregate damage over like an entire match, you absolutely have consistent damage on par with DDs and battleships and all that shit. It's just that it's time gated. Is the only thing. Like, you can absolutely do fuck tons of damage, especially if you get floods and fires and all that stuff. It's just, again, it's delivered once a minute as opposed to like gunshots every 20 seconds or blah blah blah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's really consistent, and that's why CVs have the highest practical damage potential, at least as far as I'm concerned, in the entire game. Because, well, first of all, you're basically always going to hit, and then you'll always be at least assuming you've picked the right spot, you'll always be in the right place at the right time. And then the damage you do like can't be avoided. Like the guy can't just disengage. He's not fast enough for that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in my opinion, CV damage. That's why CV damage. The damage they deal is actually a bit too high. Like Lexing torpedoes on a single strike usually do like 12 to 15k. That's basically a guaranteed citadel hit with every attack.
Well,
assuming you hit all three targets.
Assuming you land all three, yeah.
Which on battleships with Lexing is actually fairly easy.
On battleships, definitely. Maneuverable cruisers, not so much.
Yeah, cruisers on the other hand, not so much. But
for that if you have a Baltimore that's just like
bombers.
humping the island waiting to get shot, then
of course.
He's just waiting to get pwned. All right, so I'm going to take another stab at trying to answer El2aZeR a little differently here, and tell me if this seems at least mildly sane. So I'm going to take this as a business example, okay? El2aZeR is asking, do you think CVs are OP because they have a greater chance to have a higher win rate at their best than someone else at their best? And here's what I would tell you. If you think of like a manufacturing plant, and you have a supervisor and then you have a technician, and there's machines on the left that need to be fixed and machines on the right that need to be fixed. You can have a technician on the left that's fucking amazing at their job, and they can fix that machine and they can fix it quickly and they can do their job and it's great. But they can't affect the machine that's on the other side of the compound or something. They're stuck where they are. So they're amazing at what they do. They are the best, and they do that there. Well, the same thing if you had a technician on the other side, blah blah blah. But if you're a supervisor, you're not on site. You can't fix the machine. You can try to give some information, or you can order a part, or you can provide some kind of assistance by calling for help, or do some kind of something which makes that situation easier to resolve. But you don't have the raw ability to just handle it. Well, when you say I'm not directly answering, the best way I can directly tell you is no, I don't think CVs are OP, because somebody that is the best at what they do and is given the ability to influence and diffuse this time bomb here and that time bomb there, you're saying you have a class that has the ability to be effective on multiple sections of the map. I think if you had one best player in the game in a random battle, then yes, they would be able to affect that and potentially have a stronger win rate. Well, the best technician in the analogy is the DD, the cruiser, and the battleship player. The CV in my analogy was the supervisor, the guy that can make phone calls. He can't go and fix the machine, but he can call for parts. He can call for another technician to show up. He can call for some kind of assistance that helps in resolving the situation, but he can't resolve the situation alone. Except, of course, in the game, obviously, a CV can, over time, kill a bunch of shit on a flank. So, sure, we can take that as part of the example in context. So, sure, they could eventually kill the shit on the flank. But I'm just trying to say that you're asking, why is it that the best person can do more in a CV than they can do in a surface ship, is because I believe they can affect more of the map as appropriate, but that they have less individual influence with what they do as they're trying to defuse time bombs than having an amazing cruiser or DD or battleship player on a flank. Having an amazing player somewhere doing something is like having a technician that's just a fucking amazing wizard that's able to rebuild that machine from like MacGyver like pencils and sticks. You can't beat that. That's a beautiful, amazing thing to have. So that's why I think it would turn out that way. Again, assuming best in class performance. That's my take on it. Does that make sense, El2aZeR? Am I just like completely bullshitting?
I mean, kinda yes and no. I know the angle where you're coming from. The issue is that, like, as a CV, you're not really. I wouldn't say you are the supervisor. I would actually say that you're basically a technician with, I don't know, a jetpack or something. You have hired. You basically just go around, fix machines, and do it at a much faster pace than the technician that's just on foot. Because you can't take cabs. You can't take cabs. Sure,
Yeah,
but what you can do is just you can actually prevent the enemy from taking cabs, and then.
I mean,
yeah, sure. It is in the selfish interest of your teammates to actually then take that cap. If they don't, yeah, you're kind of meh. But on the other hand, that's also a cap that's just not taken. That's all, and you've just killed a bunch of stuff. That's already in your favor.
Okay. Well, let's try to use an in-game example then. I know we're diving really deep on this one, but honestly, I'm just kind of interested. So,
yeah, sure.
Your CV is in the center of the map, doing center of the map ship. You didn't really dedicate yourself to the left flank. You didn't dedicate yourself to the right. You're just kind of equal opportunity do stuffer. So,
Yep.
on the left flank, you have a battleship that's fucking amazing. He hits all of his shells. His damage output is consistent. If anybody turns, shows cheek, shows side, they get citadel, they get fucking hurt. Well, unfortunately, he has a DD or two that derped in and died. And now the enemy side has DDs and his side doesn't. Now, if you can light the DDs, if you can give him some information as to where they are, he can try to angle the torps. Hell, he could probably hit the son of a bitch if he actually shot at him. But in the battleship, he doesn't have access to that ability. So
Yes.
when you fly over there with your planes, you might do 5 or 10k damage, but the reason you're going over there isn't to do 5 or 10k damage. The reason you're going over there is to defuse the situation of, oh fuck, my DD died over on the left flank, and I don't know where this guy is. I have to give them something. And you can be over there. You can't resolve the situation by yourself. Maybe you can kill a DD. I mean, that'd be cool. But realistically, you don't expect to, or at least I don't expect to. What I expect to do is to try to defuse the time bomb a little, to try to help them know the DD is here, figure it out. I hit him for 5k, he's half health. Do your thing. And then your planes are gone, you recalled, your planes are shot down, or you ran out of strikes or whatever, and you're not there anymore. The person that's on the ground in the flank, able to do things and take positions, is there and is able to make those plays, take that ground, get those kills, do those things. You can't. You can come over, look at something, smack it across the face for 5 or 10k, and then you're gone. So it's their problem now. That's how I'm seeing it in my head.
All right then, but there's nothing preventing you from just coming back.
Sure.
Just over and over.
That is
The
true.
thing about this specific situation is really weird because okay, it's not weird, but it depends on how the other flank is doing. Like sometimes it's better to just abandon your one flank and just help the other flank push through.
Yeah. But okay, in the context of the question is, why is it that the best CV player on Earth has a better win rate than the best battleship player on Earth? And the reason why I'm saying is that if the best battleship player on Earth is on a flank, he's going to do amazing shit. But because of the law of attrition, Occasionally a DD is going to die. Occasionally he's going to be put in a situation where he's not going to have the tools that he needs to have, and maybe the team can't step up and provide them. So he may end up losing the flank even though he individually is amazing. Or in a different situation, he being there wins the fucking flank because he's amazing, but he can't stop his damn team from getting owned on the other side of the map, and then they lose that, and then they lose caps, and then they fucking lose because he is stuck over here where he won his flank, but he couldn't win the game. Whereas a CV has less individual little impacts, but has the ability to look, oh, I need to help the left. Oh, I need to help the right. And because he has the ability to reach out, read the map, and diffuse situations, that's why I believe the best CV has the ability to hit a higher win rate. Do I think that makes the class OP? No. I think it means that you're giving an extremely capable player the influence, the ability to reach out and try to do something where the somethings are needed.
Well, you've basically just explained why CVs are more influential, and I guess
influential, yes, but overpowered.
Yes, of course.
I don't think so.
Yes, of course, but you have to understand. You probably have to understand that to him that means CVs are overpowered because they are more influential.
Well,
I wouldn't actually agree. I wouldn't actually agree with that. I would actually because DDs are obviously more influential than cruisers or battleships, and they're certainly not overpowered, with maybe a couple of exceptions. But such exceptions exist with every class because wargaming is sometimes very weird in balancing. But just because the class is more influential doesn't necessarily mean it's overpowered. The problem with CVs specifically is that, in my opinion, they're too influential, which makes them overpowered, and they're not really. So, for example, in the situation you already described, you could be amazing, the most amazing BB player in the world, all right? Mm-hmm. But if your DD is just YOLO in and die, and now you have just two unspotted BBs trying to top the shit out of you, there's really nothing you can do but retreat. Such a situation really doesn't exist that much with CVs. Like your entire flank could fall, yes, and then you're a shit out of luck, I suppose. But there's really no individual situation that you cannot deal with without actually without fucking yourself over.
I guess technically,
which ties into this concept of team play that World of Warcraft is supposed to have. Let's just kid ourselves, it doesn't exist in randoms.
I wouldn't actually say that. I think that's a flawed argument. I think the only time you're supposed to have team play is in clan battles. And I know that's a stupid thing to say, but the way that wargaming treats the product is they treat it like a sandbox. Here, we've set up your little play space. Go ahead and get your toy. You can go in there and you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. And if you happen to do this or that, then we'll give you a reward. Like win. If you win, you get some extra special shit. But in general,
I would say the classes are designed so that they can play off of each other. And then there are CVs which are the complete outlier, because they actually don't beyond the most basic things like requiring your teammates to exist and actually like take map control, and something that is like CVs are always doing stuff that is basically selfish in nature. And there's nothing much they actually depend on their teammates from actively, and there's not really something that your teammates can expect from your CV.
Oh, I disagree a lot.
Like you can, like spotting is there, yes, sure. But it's fairly optional. Let's just say that. Like it's also very passive.
Well, you're saying like there's things that your CV doesn't need your team to do. I disagree. I mean, the ability for your team to hold a flank is something the CV can't do. If the CV,
of course, but
the team just lemming trains away from it,
your teammates are required to hold the flank anyway, otherwise they just lose. Like
but just because the game says they should doesn't mean that the CV doesn't need them to do it.
Yes, of course, but I'm just saying beyond the very basics of team play, which just yeah, you need your teammates to exist so you can basically kill the enemy team faster and they can die.
What?
Beyond that, you really don't rely on your team too much.
Okay, well, I guess I've said on my stream multiple times that there's two ways to play carriers. There's damage farmers and there's support carriers. Damage farmers just basically look for what can I hit the hardest and deal the most to. And they're looking to deal so much damage that they just take the game that way. To which I personally say there are so few people on the planet that are able to damage farm so completely effectively that they just win the match because they just do amazing damage. So I try to advise people, if you're looking because there are people that like to farm PR, if you're looking for wins, try to win. Look at the situations that lead to wins. That may not lead to damage. It may not lead to kills, but it leads to wins. If you're looking to do damage, well, then look for damage, but recognize that damage does not translate into wins, which everybody in every clan has somebody that's posted a picture like, I did 300,000 damage and that's still a loss. God damn it, I can't carry these motherfuckers. Ah! So, it's...
Yeah, I know. I know that situation too well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, yeah, but you also have the choice to, as a CV, you also have a choice to implement your damage effectively. Like, you don't, yeah, sure, you do. If you farm 300k damage on 3 battleships, that's sure, that looks amazing on stats, but that's not necessarily going to win your game.
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, just today, a couple of hours ago, I just played a match where I just killed all 3 enemy DDs inside 4.5 minutes. And yeah, sure, that looks terrible on stats. I had in the end I had 70k damage or something, but yeah, that they basically default won us the game because the enemy we just took all the caps and the enemy just got zeroed.
Yeah. Yeah, I played a lot of Midway back in the day when we had the Tiny Tims that didn't suck. And I mean, I could hunt and harass DDs relentlessly, and ultimately I made the change to the Audacious because the rockets was just so consistent that I could absolutely provide consistent, dominant pressure against DDs in a way that I could not even dream of doing in the Midway. But in those games, I spend so much time looking for them, dealing with whatever, that I might end with 40,000 damage to 60,000, but it's a win, so fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted the win.
Yes, of course.
And of course, with the rocket changes, that's different now, so you kind of have to find different ways to influence the game. Granted, you can still bomb DDs, granted, you can still rocket them, but it's not quite as effective as it used to be. Again, it's more like, I think you were saying, it comes down to efficiency. What is the thing that is the best choice?
Yeah,
what is the thing that's the most efficient choice? And now it's not as much trying to Goomba Stomp destroyers as it is trying to find places where you can become effective, because they limited the toolkit.
To be honest, I haven't really changed up my playstyle that much, except for Midway, which I said I slot the legendary model and just go after DDs with dive bombers. But the principle, I guess it comes down to that I play CVs that haven't really been affected by the change. Like Shokaku got an amazing buff. Enterprise didn't get touched at all. Like
yeah,
Lexington HVRs haven't been changed, so there's that.
Briefly, but they fixed it.
Yeah, I don't have a Graf Zeppelin. I got a Kaga, but that's not really my stick.
Kaga's weird.
Yeah, Kaga's just top spamming, and it's kind of brain dead. I don't like it.
Yeah, being on a CV teaching stream where I take requests for anything other that's not tier 4, unless it's specifically a very new player that needs that experience. Playing all sorts of anything at any given time.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, man. There are a lot of carriers that are really different after that rocket change.
Yeah. Like I'm not playing weak CVs. Like I'm never going to touch the friggin' Implacable again. Jesus Christ, that thing is trash.
It has its charm.
No, it doesn't. Like I got the Löwenheart actually gifted to me from some guy. Yeah, that thing can kind of hunt DDs with the HE bombs, but I found them to be wildly inconsistent. generally speaking, I haven't really changed my playstyle because, well, the change hasn't really facilitated that. That's one of the reasons I don't like the Richthofen, because that thing just can't deal with DDs, and it is just so ingrained in my playstyle that I have a really hard time changing it up.
Yeah, it really is a thing.
Yep.
It's not a joke at all, because like I was playing the midway for the I was playing midway in ranked, which I like, but the ability to just really rip into cruisers, it's such a huge gain, but then inevitably you get into a situation where there's a fucking Holland. And
then you're fucked.
I bet I have this clip, which I don't think you've seen, so I'm gonna share this in the chat, because I know this is here somewhere. There was where is this? Oh, it was somebody else clipped it, didn't they? Damn it. Well, okay, I can't find it then. We were playing the epicenter map, and there was a Holland, and nobody could shoot him. So everywhere I wanted to be, that motherfucker was there. You know, like the insurance company or something. You know, if you need me, bro, I'm here. Fuck. So I spent so much of that game just like, oh look, there's a Holland. I mean, I'm losing my mind on the stream. And I even told the guy, props, dude, you played excellently. You did a beautiful thing for your team, but oh my god. Well, the next game, we started to win, and the two destroyers on the map started moving toward the Holland, and I was seeing, oh my god, it's gonna happen. The Holland's gonna die. And like I was freaking out, dude. I was losing my shit because there's nothing I can do against this motherfucking destroyer. So, oh my god, I had to breathe for like 5 minutes, bro. I lost it. I was gone. But I mean, that's ranked for you, right?
Yeah.
So
man,
yeah,
that's actually the reason I no longer play ranked. Last time I actually played ranked was like 3-4 years ago, and I thought even back then it was terrible. Oh god.
So there was a quick question in the chat, which I think we kind of addressed earlier, but I just wanted to hit up. Why do you? Oh fuck, God! Everybody just says so much stuff. Like Ascant. So why balance CVs for the average instead of balancing for the top 5 or 10%?
It's just not in Wargame's financial interests.
Yeah, my belief is, you know, I don't know what the numbers of people that play wargaming stuff is, but you have at least, I'm just going to make up a number here, and I feel fairly good about it. You probably have 2 to 5 million accounts. No way in hell that many people play every day, but you probably have 2 to 5 million accounts. You have 1 to 3% of your player base that is doing this shit that at a level where it's just like, EL2aZeR's just like, Flak? Don't care. Hey, there's a Holland over there. I know pretty much exactly where he is, so I'm just going to start my... Oh, yep, there he is. Wham, get fucked. Now his AA's gone. Haha, now you're mine, bitch. Swing, hit, kill. So that's on a level that just doesn't exist for the average person, kind of like, you know, the National Football League, or like people that go to the World Soccer... Well, I'm an American, so the World Football shit, they exist in their own realm. And then you have some kids that like to take a soccer ball, or a football, whatever, and just go down to like the park and kick it around for a bit. They're not there for a massive competitive experience. They like kicking the ball. Oh, hey, got a goal. What the fuck? So wargaming can't, I believe, design to deal with El2aZeR, because the amount of damage and flack and obnoxious bullshit you have to put in his way is so it's so many roadblocks, it's so much obnoxious bullshit that the average player is just like, what is this? And
yes, of course.
I spent money to buy a CV and I can't even fucking do anything. Like, wow, what? And then it's not in their interest as a game provider. Not, and yes, in the financial interest as well, but I mean, game developers, they don't go to work every day to build something that nobody gives a fuck about.
Yeah, of
You
course,
know,
but
it's like I don't stream so that nobody can listen to me. I stream so that people can listen to it and think, "Yeah, I enjoyed this," or "Man, go fuck yourself." You know, I stream
yes, of course.
for the dissemination and the enjoyment of the product. Well, wargaming does the same, and obviously balancing to the super unicum tier, I don't know about that, man.
I would actually say that, like, I heard that Wargaming had a management change or something like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and you can actually see that monetization became really, really aggressive.
Yeah, I've seen that, sure.
And I would actually say that, yeah, the developers care about the game, but there's not really nothing they can do about it, even if they like something like the NTC, like the research bureau nowadays is called the initial model. Like, there's really no way that a reasonable game designer looked at that and said, "Yeah, that looks fine. That's not gonna cause a shitstorm. That's gonna be perfectly fine. We're gonna push it out. The community is gonna love it. Yada yada yada." There's literally no way. Like, the guy would have to be grossly incompetent to assume that. So I would actually think that wargaming nowadays is run more on a financial basis rather than actual care and love for the game.
I can agree with that, and also you have to keep in mind it's a free to play game,
Yes, of
and
course.
in a free to play market, you know, I don't know exactly when free to play games got big, probably 5 to 8 years ago. So
Yeah, a
there's
couple.
been all kinds of psychological research and this and that and other shit. Well, maybe 10 to 12 because like wargaming is pretty old. Hell, maybe 15. God, oh my,
Yeah,
I
that's a
feel
long
old
time
now.
ago. Jesus
But
Christ.
there's been so much research into how to interact with players, how to get people to open their wallet because once they spend that first dollar, they might spend
Yeah,
more.
I know.
So it's that initial wall to get people down. So there's so much to it, and all somebody has to do is just download a different game, and then suddenly they don't give a shit
Yes, of
about you
course.
anymore. So I get them being aggressive, but yeah, it does feel pretty damn aggressive. Just to respond to El2aZeR, I don't think CVs are balanced at average either. I see many players who are 40% win rate surface ships who are near 60% on CVs because it's easier for them to aim in and they just accidentally spot for their allies.
Well,
I'm gonna be honest, dude. The 40% win rate on surface ships, I can understand. It's easy to fuck up. I do it. You know, you take a fight that, oh god, he has a friend. Well, fuck, you're dead. Like, sure, there are people that don't necessarily, they can't think ahead to the next 2 or 3 steps, and I'm actually one of those people. I'm not a chess player that thinks 10 moves ahead. I see the next move. So CV works really well for me because I don't tend to get blindsided, and if I do, I lose some planes, but I can still contribute to the game. So it does actually work for me, my mental state of being. But at the same time, somebody that has a 40% win rate and a 60% win rate in CV, 60% win rate in anything is not a joke. It's not a joke at all. So to simply think that, wow, this person must be a shitter if they've got a 40% win rate over here and a 60% in CVs because CVs are easy. I'm sorry, that's bullshit.
I
There
mean,
there are a lot of
series.
there are a lot of excellent players that play CVs excellently that don't get to 60%. So I can't go with you on that. That sounds really hyperbolic. I have to cry bullshit on that.
I mean, to be honest, CVs just play completely differently. Someone who might not adapt well to surface ship play might adapt well to CV play. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
true as
it's kind of
well.
subjective.
Yeah.
But on that note, have you seen Gibbons play? Like, I'm sure he's a great dude, but Jesus Christ, the CV play is awful.
No, I haven't. That's
You should look at that. He
there's
has he has a close to 60% win rate, and every time I see that, I ask myself, yeah, how is that possible?
yeah, but at the same time, like if you're rocking an 80%, seeing anybody that's going to run
Yeah, sure,
60 to
sure.
you is
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
feel like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's basically what I
but still,
that's
like,
basically what I ask myself every time I
yeah,
see I see a CV stream that's not Knockout Gaishu.
yeah, it's the difference between like you being in a professional league and going out to watch like a high school player.
Yeah,
A
of
high
course.
school player is a hell of a lot better than somebody that just goes out to like, you know, the park to derp around. Sure, they do it. It's a passion for them. They've studied it. They execute plays. But compared to somebody that's paid millions of dollars, Nah, it's a different
Yeah, of
level. It
course,
just
of course,
is.
of course.
I do want to say that part of the reason I stream actually is because I could never find somebody on Twitch that did a consistent CV thing, and it was actually finding definitely knock a CV main, his stream where it was just like, wait, I can be here and just talk CV shit and it's okay. Are you fucking kidding me? And there are other people that know this shit too. I can just exist and have a place to hang out. And
Well,
that
that's
was
Ripperoni
so
now, isn't it?
well, yes, but it was such a revolution for my mind. Like, how is this fucking possible? That when he got busy with life and university and stuff, there was a real push. Like, I wish we had that back, and that's one of the reasons why I do this. So I
Oh yeah,
teach
sure.
CVs. I have a place where people can come. I don't mind if you hate CVs. I'm more than happy to have conversations about it.
Yeah, sure, it's
But
fine.
even in my chat, I think the way I describe it is the only rules are don't be a dick. And failing that, because sometimes people are dicks, don't try to
Obviously.
be a dick. I'm good with that. But if you're trying to be a dick, that's a problem. All right, so we have talked for a long time. I don't know how long it's been, but I've
Oh,
enjoyed it.
it's been like 2 hours, isn't it?
Feels like the time talked with the tech geek, we went for about 2 hours as well, a little
Right,
over.
that's actually a good question still in chat. I have a question. How about you either of you fix British CV line? Oh Jesus Christ.
Um,
Ugh,
I have to
that's a can
say,
of worms.
well, I'm going to be controversial and say I don't think you need to fix the British CV line. And
Okay.
the reason I'm going to say that is because the first time I played the British CV line, I fucking hated it. I did. I'm like, this is weird. I dislike this. And then I got to the point where I started doing clan battles and I started learning about armor schemes. This at tier 8, you have cruisers with 25 and 27 mil armor. At tier 7, it's 16. And I started learning what ships had what and where they had it. And I started committing it to memory. And then when I'm playing the British CVs, that their crippling weaknesses, they have very low pen. Their rockets are low
Yeah.
pen, their bombs are low pen. But when you learn what you can affect with them, then you become more effective in I have this toolkit, I can
Yes, of
do
course.
these things and whatever. And
Yes.
what I ended up doing is with the research bureau when that shit came out, I just reset the British line and replayed it. And I
Okay.
found, oh, this is much better when you have a lot of game knowledge. But without that, oh, yeah, God. Oh, it's painful.
Yeah,
So,
but on the other hand, that also makes you incredibly matchmaking dependent. Like you can have like I don't know 4 conquerors in one match, which you are amazing against in an audacious, and on the other hand, you have a match where there are like 5 Kremlins, and you can't do shit to them with the bombs.
sure. But then, of course, you get in that match of the MVR late at night where there's 6 DDs on both sides, and you're like,
Yeah, that too.
no! So
Yeah,
it's like,
I've had that.
you
That's one
know,
of the reasons I don't like that city. um,
yeah, I like the US because it's kind of versatile against
yeah, of
everything.
course.
And the
Yeah,
Japanese line also is pretty, it's got a tool for everything. It just might not be the best tool, but it's got a tool.
yeah. How would I fix them? It depends on what fixing means. Like if you're if it means they're supposed to be equally as powerful as, say, a Midway or Hakuyu, then obviously it needs buffs. In what way? I don't know. Maybe get rid of the carpet bombing gimmick, or and just replace them with regular dive bombers. But that kind of takes away their personality, I would say.
Hmm.
Uh, if it were actually balance-wise, I would actually say that Royal Navy CVs are fine, and the others are just too powerful.
I mean, that could be a thing, I suppose, if you cut. I mean, it's not that an implacable can't do damage,
Of course,
but
it's just that it's pitifully low in comparison to I don't know what a Lexing, a Shokaku, or even an Enterprise can put out.
well, that actually leads me, I guess, to a different point. So in the last clan battle season with the tier 6 stuff, there were many times where I'm sitting there frustrated as fuck. And I mean, not to say that in the tier 10 that I was able to just dominate and kill everything on the fucking map, because in Hurricane you're just not going to have that. But
Obviously,
at tier 6, you especially don't have that. You really, really don't have that. And it's obnoxious because you're put in a situation where it's like, I should be able to do this. I should be able to go out there and enforce, to take this bastard down. Nah, nope. You don't have enough power. Deal with it. And there's times when, like, the Implacable, where it feels like that too, where it's like, I really, really should be able to influence this, but God,
Yeah.
I just need more. Please, just a little more. Well, the tier 6s, all of them feel like that to me. So I can understand, like, if you nerf the tier 8s down some to try to make them Implacable level, well, then you just start feeling like it's the tier 6. God, I just want
Yeah,
a
of
little
course.
more, which starts...
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, doing that would probably lose us the CV player base. Let's just be honest.
I don't think so. I think if you give somebody... players love buffs because they know what they can do, and now they can do more. Players hate nerfs because they knew what they could do, and now they can't do it. So, yes, if you nerf the CV, will you lose some people? Sure, because they'll be like, fuck this shit. But they just nerfed rockets. CVs didn't go away. So,
Yeah, of course.
I don't think that's true. And then you'd also have new players that have never experienced it pre-nerf that'll just be like, well, what? This is just what it does. And you'll continue to have people that'll play. I don't think shaving 15 to 20% off to try to make it Implacable level would actually just like kill the player base. You'd lose some, but the most people, whatever, man, I just play my thing.
The issue is that the CV player base is already pretty small. Like, at least on Marpus Europe, and I haven't checked the NA numbers in a while, but on EU it's just a tiny little bit higher than RTS. And yeah, losing, like, I don't know, even just 10% or something is going to be an issue.
I guess. I mean, at best, it's what, a 12th of the population, and you don't get CVs every match, so it's not even that much technically. Sometimes you get obviously the double carrier games.
The last time I calculated was like, on EU it was like, I don't know, it was single-digit percentages.
Sure, but I mean, it's a worship game. How many people have told you, like, why are there CVs in warships? It's not a worship, which it is. But when they think worship game, they think you sail around and shoot your artillery and shells go and hit things, and that's not what the CV is. It's different.
Yeah,
you had that same issue before. Now it's a little more actiony, a little more accessible, I guess, to the average gamer that's kind of done stuff before. Oh, okay, I can do this. Fly around, shoot that. Got it. As opposed to the RTS. Oh, I got to juggle all the shit, man. I got to juggle all the shit. Like, it's a different level.
Yeah, of course. In that regard, I found personally it's completely subjective, but I found RTS to be much more entertaining simply because it was.
Well, I think that's obvious because I think you play at a level where you want to be extremely challenged. So
yeah, of course.
You would be the person that plays StarCraft at like the Masters League. I am the person that plays StarCraft on solo because I can just make a bunch of tanks and fucking steamroll shit. I don't have to think about anything. So like there's a difference there. There's a challenge that you're craving that other people are just not looking for.
Yeah, of course. I can totally understand that. Yeah. Otherwise, what was it? British CVs. Like Implacable would probably be in need of a buff. Doesn't it actually getting a buff? Like, I think bombs are getting a bit damaging, and the fire chance is like 1% higher or something.
I think if the Implacable got 3 torps instead of 2, even if they nerfed the torp damage a little, so that it's not like it was just a straight buff, but a little something that would give it a bit of an accuracy buff, that would give it a little extra flood chance. Not that its flood chance sucks, but I mean it's 3 versus 2, which the others at tier 8 have. I think if I don't necessarily know if they want to touch the pen because that's kind of a gimmick maybe, but they could actually increase a little bit of the fire and flood chance.
Yeah, maybe, but like the penetration, if they actually increase it so that I don't know, they just can actually penetrate most decks, that's actually going to be really overpowered because
that's why I think they can't touch that. But I think if they increased the fire and flood setting, but they doubled down on this, like, well, you have a lot of health, but you have less planes. If they can trim the planes back to where you really don't always have that second strike, then you can't just light the fire, loiter around, wait for the damage con, and then relight.
Yeah.
So if they make it to where, yeah, it might happen, but usually it's a single strike situation, then you can light fires, you can do your thing. You don't always get the permafires, but that would be a buff if they made that more consistent. So they don't have to necessarily go for the pen, but if they could make the status effects up a little, and I think also increase the torp drop, at least for the implacable. I personally think the audacious is okay where it is. I think it's fine. The furious, I think, is actually okay. The bomb reticle could be a little smaller, but
I've had a friend who actually played Furious and clan battles, and he actually did really well. I have no idea how.
It's powerful, especially if you're against a battleship, because like if you have something large enough to get hit by the bombs, if they land, because it's RNG, they do almost the most damage of any bombs that could happen. So like it's brutal if you have the conditions.
The problem with tier 8 CVs really is that tier 6 CVs is that really, or rather CVs in general, the power progression is really weird. Like tier 6 CVs are for tier 4 the weakest, simply because tier 6 is a victim tier nowadays. You get up tiered the entire time basically, and you have to face tier 8s, which have a lot more A than your typical than tier 5, 6, 7, 8 ever had.
Go ahead.
Tier 4 is obviously grossly overpowered currently.
Yeah, when they made the double torp change, that was really bad. That was not a good
terrible
thing. So do not agree. Tier 4 was supposed to be that you don't do a lot of damage, you slowly figure out how to shoot, you get enough base XP that you don't want to play tier 4 anymore, and then you play tier 6 now because it's more fun. So when they made tier 4 fun, they fucked it up, because now it's like, well, let's go seal club it, and that's really just not cool. The double torp thing totally fucked it all up. They need to get rid of the double torp thing and just let it be what it is, a training tier, so that you can move on to the tier 6 and play the larger game.
Tier 8 CVs are actually the most powerful tier for tier. Simply, the power gap between tier 6 and tier 8 is ludicrous.
Yes, I would agree. It's the difference between a training tier and an actual game tier.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're tier 8 and you're fighting against tier 6 stuff, that's like, they can't kill your planes, you've got serious damage. Yeah, it's a big thing. I wouldn't mind if they restricted tier 8 to like 7 to 9. I think some people have said that +1, -1 kind of thing. Tier 8 against tier 6 is not good. Tier 6 against tier 7, I mean, it's workable. Tier 7 is better than the tier 6. Yes, you're on the shit end of the stick.
The difference isn't that big in terms of AA, so tier 7 against tier 8 is already pretty brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal, but I mean, you still pay a price when you bring the smaller ship. So that's part of the gimmick. Sometimes you're the top tier, sometimes you're not. But I do think that the tier 8 CV running against tier 6 AA is... There's really... that's bad.
Especially if you bring something like an Enterprise, which is basically a tier 10 CV or tier 8, and you just murder the shit out of everything.
You rocket everything for like 9k every strike, and they can't kill your plane, so you just rocket everything for 9k a strike and kill everything. Yes, I agree. No bueno. Not very well balanced. So I fully think like... if they implemented the +1, -1 or something for CV stuff, that would be better. But again, it comes back to their matchmaker stuff. Like,
of course.
They look at, well, does that mean that the CV is going to have to wait an extra 45 seconds? And does that mean that we're going to lose a player? And I mean, that ultimately is going to be back-end stuff that I don't have that information for, but it would be nice if they didn't have CVs be... I do not want a CV to be in a position where it is influential enough to just be considered straight up abusive. I don't think that's cool. I don't run tier 4s on my stream. If I do, I handicap myself. There have been times where I literally just spun in a circle for a while to kind of let both teams catch up a bit, or I just struck my own CV and took myself out of the game. I mean, I'm not there to seal club. I'm here to teach. But with the double torp drop, it can be pretty obnoxious. Sometimes the games are still close.
Oh god, I actually played. I had to grind through tier 4 CVs on my NA account because I just felt like it. And Jesus Christ, that was retarded. Like I had a situations where we were 3 versus 8 or something. I still won that because Jesus Christ, the whole show is just retardedly overpowered.
It is, and it's obnoxious, and that's not
Yeah,
okay, and it needs to be changed because it's not okay. And because
yeah,
it's not okay, it leads to griefing, which is even more not
yeah.
okay.
Of course.
So I really do hope, if for some reason, I don't know, if so for some reason they make me a community contributor or something, I will absolutely be barking up the chain, please change this.
Oh god.
Please just, please
Honestly, you'd
just
be yelling
change
at
this.
deaf ears because like
Well, I know,
there used to be this CV guy. I'm not sure if you know him, Farzalas. He used to be the main RTS community contributor. Like literally everyone knew him,
hmm,
and he was also several times King of the Sea winner and stuff like that. And he made some really amazing CV content. And what Wargaming basically told to all of his suggestions were, yeah, that's not our vision, so thank you, but no thanks. So there's one video in which he really goes into how Wargaming deals with community feedback, which is kind of dumb. Like, they basically only accept positive praise, and then if it is negative, they if like unless it's like a major shitstorm, they really don't care much.
well, yeah, um, yeah. I mean, supposedly the CCs or whatever got flown to Russia for like a thing, but
Oh yeah, the
again,
summit, yeah.
I have no idea. But still, it would be something I'd be barking up the chain because it's such an easy fix that it doesn't affect the ability for the player to learn how to play CVs. So you're not losing anything there.
The thing is
It
that
it works better for the flow and the balance of the game. Like it's just such an easy fix. Or even if they want to leave the double torp drop, great. Cut 40% of the damage off the torps. Just do
yeah,
whatever
of
you
course.
have to do to make the numbers be where they need to be so that people can just do the thing, learning can learn, and then you move on to the tier 6 is the natural progression of the cycle. And the only time you touch tier 4 is when your friend's like, dude, I want to play a tier 4. I'll play a carrier, fuck it. So I that's my, yeah.
The real big problem with that is that like tier 4, when it was only a single top drop, used to actually be like lower tier CVs used to actually be less popular than during RTS because like playing tier 4 CVs was boring. Let's not kid around. Like single top drop, the
Sure.
bombs don't deal much damage. Everything was kind of stale. Um, and as a result, after the hype died down, tier 4, or rather low tier CV numbers really took a big hit, and after Wargaming basically saw with 085 that CV population is tanking anyway, so basically, in my opinion, they just threw everything to the wind and said, yeah, let's buff everything and retain popularity rather than balance.
I don't think they did that personally.
The thing is that they actually in the CC Summit video they actually said they would do that if CV population falls below a certain threshold, which I think is the minimum viable population for RTS.
Sure, but that's what was meant when he said that was we just invested like years worth of effort
Yeah, of
making this
course.
shit, and if we're in a situation where we're just watching it all flush away, then yeah, we'll look into buffs, we'll look into changes because this is a part of the game that we're
Yes, of course.
committed to making. Sure, but I don't think they made the AA changes like the priority sector stuff because they saw the population go down. When they made
Match.
8.5, that was not tenable. That was not tenable for
Yeah,
anywhere
of course.
close for the
It wasn't
average player
tenable.
base. So it had to be changed. And they came up with a way, they kind of integrated something that was a forum request, which, hey, maybe the community would care. It didn't. But, they tried. And with 350 ships to rebalance, fuck it. We'll just chop it in half and see what happens. Because, I mean, easy math, man. 350 individual balancing points? No.
Yeah, of course.
We'll throw it in there. We'll see what happens. If we have to fix it, we'll fix it. But in general, it'll probably work okay. And to be fair, in my opinion, it has. It just requires some coordination as well as overlapping is a requirement so that you're not just running out there being food. Okay. Somebody was asking, what do you think about a fuel requirement for planes? That kind of came out because I'd said something with the British thing about, you take out your planes and you light a fire, but you don't necessarily have a return thing. Just to clarify what that means is, if you come out with, like, say, 9 planes and you shoot with your 3, you light double fire, they damage con, you've lost a plane or 2, whatever, while you're there, you just kind of wait a little bit for the damage con to run out, then you come back and you reset a fire. So, like, if you have a really good fire chance, you could be put in a situation where you could reliably, dependably expect fires and follow up to set permafires, which, if it's an absolutely God's honest, reliable thing, that's a problem. But if it's a thing that happens that you take advantage of, that's good play. But when it's, like, enforced, that's different. And somebody took that to mean that I meant like fuel or something, so they didn't have the time to linger. That's not what I meant. What I meant was, instead of having 9 planes, you have, like, squadrons of 6 planes, and they attack with 3. They attack, twice. So there's an attack with 3 planes, there's an attack with 3 planes. You attack with your 3, but you've lost 1 or 2 planes. You only have the single plane left. But you were good at setting fires, and you set a fire or 2. So maybe your team follows up on the damage con, or maybe you fly back and follow up on the damage con. But it's very hard for you to take that situation and roll it directly into a permafire. That's more what I was talking about, not like arbitrarily limiting how long your planes can fly around. And somebody had said something about planes already have a fuel restriction. That's not true. There's a 3-minute fuel restriction once the hull is dead. Whatever planes are still in the air have a 3-minute timer before they go away.
To be honest, I think that's too long. I think that should be like 1 minute.
Oh yeah, that's sure. I mean, hell, if the planes just went away when the hull was dead, that'd be okay. I mean, you lost your hull. It's done. Sure. But yeah, if they wanted to trim it down to like 30 seconds to a minute for that last, fuck you, I'm going to try to get something strike, that's cool. But the lingering shit is obnoxious because of the spotting and the calling fighters from where. It's kind of derp.
Though on the topic of fuel, as a basically new restriction, I don't think it will. I don't think it will work out. Like it will only serve to increase the skill gap, because a good CV player, like I know in advance what I'm going to strike, and a fuel limitation is not gonna do anything. But someone who is a complete potato, I don't know, just lingers between targets and then it's going to run out of fuel and maybe lose all the planes or something. That's just gonna
yeah, that would be an arbitrarily obnoxious thing. Yeah.
Like and really it's not really gonna help either, because like whatever surface ships would deem sufficient, like surface ship players would deem sufficient, is never gonna be sufficient for the CV player. Like, let's just face it. Yeah, like between the two, you have to choose the middle ground, and either both are going to be satisfied or unsatisfied. That's kind of the place with every game mechanic.
Yeah, that's life.
Yep.
And El2aZeR, I don't know where you're coming up with this, but so that you can restrict a CV from striking 5 times on someone who is alone. There's nothing in the game, well, except the FDR. Oh wait, no. And the Shikaku,
not really.
And the Hikaru, that could attack something 5 or more times on a single like flight. So now is that possible? Is it likely to happen? No.
They would have to shut off the A for that.
But the things are in the game. Why discount those? So the only time a Hikaru or something can attack 6 times with its 12 attack planes is when somebody has turned off their AA, or you're in the arms race thing, you've gotten like
Oh yeah.
3 to 6 health buffs, which makes your planes basically immortal so that no AA can kill them, and then you do the 6 drops. Realistically, there's a phrase that I use in regards to Japanese stuff, which is use 2, lose 2. For every 2 planes you commit,
Basically,
you should expect to lose 2 planes. So if you come out with 12, that means that if you drop 6 torps, you've lost 6 planes. Use 2, lose 2. So at best, even with the Hikaru, you're dropping 3 times. Unless you're against really under-tiered AA and you use your heal buff really well, maybe you get a 4th drop, but that's an exceptionally skillful situation, and you have to have the enemy derping around letting you do it.
Basically, yeah.
I realize it's an exaggeration, Ugu, but you also have to understand that so many people say so much shit on the forum that's just utter exaggeration and hyperbole that to the average person that doesn't play CVs and doesn't know anything, but hey, I got dumpstered by planes, so fuck all you. You know, they read the shit. It's the only thing they know, so they just kind of grab onto it and they live an angry, rage-filled life. So, yes, it's exaggeration. I know it's exaggeration. You know it's exaggeration. But the average person that doesn't know, doesn't know. And you have to take a little responsibility when saying stuff like that. Okay. Also, I think he said something about CVs needing to be able to strike ships that are 3 strong. You don't need the CV to be able to strike a situation where there's 3 ships together. Frankly, 3 ships together have, I believe, and obviously there's situations where it's not the case, like DDs or tier 6 stuff, blah, blah, blah. But if you're striking something that has 3 ships together, it is very possible for all of your planes to get fucking nuked before you even get to attack something. Is that always the case? No. But it absolutely can be the case. And it is absolutely the case that you only get to attack once because all the rest of your planes are dead. So yeah, that was way back in the beginning of the conversation some 2-ish hours ago. Yeah, the 3-minute post-death timer was dumb. Well, I feel like there's more to talk about, but it's been 2 hours. So
Yeah, probably closer to 3 now.
probably. So I'm game for continuing to talk. If you're game for continuing to talk
That's
a little,
fine.
let's kick some questions to the chat. You know, you've got two CV folks that are here willing to talk about some shit. So if you've got questions, you know, do an @ a sconce or something, and try not to keep it in like giant ass paragraphs because, you know, and also if I don't read your question, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that, you know, if 5 people ask something and we start talking about shit for 10 minutes, you know, don't be afraid to re-ask. Is there a discussion on making CV spotting minimap only, or is it the first 5 or 10 seconds like they do for radar?
They tried that.
Yeah,
They tried that.
I have a response for that, which Sub Octavian was on the TNG podcast, and his explanation was that the spotting system is already complex enough to the average player. Like the spotting system doesn't exist in most games. It exists in World of Tanks, but like where else does it exist? So as a response to that, yes, radar does it. People have figured out that radar does it, but they don't want to just keep throwing in new, different, weirder, stranger mechanics that people have to figure out and uncode all of this crap to figure out how to play the game. So anything that they can to try to make stuff feel intuitive, they would go for. And that was actually something we didn't talk about, was the proposed aerial detection changes.
I think that's actually, I think it's stupid. Like, it is much more complex than just minimap spotting only.
The aerial detection thing, or?
Yeah. Like the new stuff, like, now you have a situation where your AA guns fire and do no damage. That's gonna be confusing for the average player. You're gonna have, like, just shutting, and most people are not gonna shut off their AA, obviously. The player base is not smart enough for that, let's face it.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, the fact there's a law in game design, and maybe I'm just making this shit up, but there's a law that I feel is in game design that if you're put in a situation where you have no recourse, nothing you can do, then you know there's nothing you can do, and all you can do is be upset. But if you give someone something, even if it's not great, even if it's not amazing, like literally you are hard countered by this enemy. You cannot win this fight. This does not work in your favor. But you have this, and if for some reason the enemy is really weak and you're still pretty strong, this is the thing you can use and you can overcome it. So realistically, it almost doesn't matter, but the fact that it's there means the player at least has something to grapple onto, which is kind of a catharsis almost. It's a feel-good moment. And oh my god, we were talking about something, I already forgot what it was. Fuck!
The new spotting change.
Yes, the spotting thing. What it means is, so the spotting shit, just keeping it really simple. If a Des Moines has half as much aerial detection, he goes from 6 kilometers to 3, which means right now a lot of DDs have 3-kilometer aerial. So finding a DD, it's not necessarily hard if the DD is alone, but when he's not alone and there's a bunch of shit that has AA on, it's annoying to find the DD that doesn't want to be found. Well, if the Des Moines starts getting his ass kicked and he wants to kind of pull back from the battle and run, rather than thinking, oh god, I'm just going to be lit by the fucking CV and I'm going to die, it gives him an option to hit P and run. And if there's not a destroyer that's lighting him, if he doesn't shoot his guns, well, it's going to be harder for a CV to come, collect the kill while he runs off to heal a few times or something. And again, having that something matters. So I also, for the other reasons of in competitive play, if you have the ships that they competitive players will hopefully know that they start the match with their AA off.
Yeah,
they
course.
Split off to go to their whatevers. It's harder for the CV to do a surface. Oh, okay, all these guys are going that way. Oh, these guys are going that way. It makes it actually you have to hard commit to a flank to try to see the flank, and then all of a sudden you're literally on top of ships that are just going to turn on their AA and try to roast your planes as best they can.
Yes, of course.
So it changes things, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad change. It's a nerf to aerial spotting, but when you get to a point where surface ships detect surface ships, I feel like you're just going to play like you're playing already. It's just that there's the benefit that you could, quote unquote, enable stealth mode and at least make it harder for a CV to put you in a compromising situation if the CV didn't know your position in the first place.
On the other hand, now with your AA shut off, if the CV knows where you are, which obviously a high-level CV is going to know that.
Sure,
or rather,
should.
And well, now you're just giving him more striking power.
I disagree with that. So if you look at the priority sector system does percentage health damage, right? Well,
yeah, of course.
So they had offered this whole 7-second wind up, 7-second wind down. So you don't just hit P, enable cloak, and disappear.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. So there's a ramp up, there's a ramp down. You don't get as surprised, motherfucker, as you would otherwise, and they don't get stealth mode that they can just pop in. What do they lose for that? Well, let's say a Des Moines. Des Moines probably kills 2 planes for a strike. Okay. Well, he's in stealth mode. You're looking around. You trip over the Des Moines. Oh, fuck. He's within 3 kilometers. Maybe you're in a CV that can strike within 3 kilometers, and you're a really good CV player, so you're going in and you get that strike, you hit him. Okay, he got nailed for 6k damage. But as soon as he got lit, or knew he was about to get lit, he pops on his AA, he hits priority sector, which should hit for the full priority sector damage. So if you have 9 planes, we're just going to use easy numbers here. If there were 10 planes and it's 3.5% thing because you're in a cruiser, that's 35% of a plane fucking gone. And then you have a few seconds of your AA shooting it, as well as after the strike happens and the planes are leaving, your AA is still shooting. You probably kill 1 plane. So what did you lose? You didn't kill 2 planes. You killed 1 plane and you got struck. So for the bonus of having the ability to have stealth mode, you lost the consistency of killing the second plane. And I think that's such a buff to cruisers that who gives a shit if they didn't kill 1 additional plane? That's my personal kind of view on it.
The issue is really that activating priority sector that close actually shafts yourself. Because
Well,
and
I
a
mean,
lot
your
of
your
like
AA is
if it's
already
strong.
weak, right? Because it's climbing up,
Yeah, of
and
course, of course, of course. But
yeah,
the thing is that most you will usually want to approach from the side, right? And if you just attack, you're gonna fly over to the non-reinforced side, and which at 3 kilometers is your AA stays reinforced for what
10 seconds I think on
10 seconds,
cruisers.
I think. Yeah,
Yeah, it's long. It is, especially if like
which means
you activate it late.
yeah, and you're gonna be forced to activate it late because he's gonna approach at 3 kilometers before he
Maybe
can spot you.
it is what it is. Like also, if you have an idea of where somebody is, and you know this because you're a CV player, if you find a CV or sorry you find a destroyer, he shoots you a little with his AA, and then he turns it off while you're making your turn. He goes dark. He was going in this direction. I'm pretty sure he's here. You start your attack run. You probably end up finding him, but sometimes they do speed jukes or they do turns and they surprise you because you couldn't see them. It happens. It's counterplay. Well, there's nothing saying that the Des Moines, seeing the planes looking for him, has to be exactly in the position where you expect him to be to get dunked. So he still has a little bit of surprise motherfucker when he turns on his AA at 3.3 and you're not necessarily set up for the perfect attack angle. So you're going to do a little loitering in the AA. You're going to do a little trying to fix your attack angle to make the strike. You'll probably still make the strike, whatever. But I firmly believe if your AA was on, you killed 2 planes. If your AA was off, you have a stealth mode, a chance to disengage, a chance to reposition without the CV spotting advantage that we have right now. And you're trading the ability to kill a plane for it. And I just don't think that, well, my AA is so nerfed, I only killed half as many planes. Dude, it's a plane. Get over it. It's fucking okay. You have an opportunity that you do not have now so your AA did a little less, but you gain so much possibility out of the bargain that I can't possibly see that as a nerf. But that's me.
In my mind, it's more of a trade-off because I just attack shit.
Well, that's true. Whatever, man. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody asked. Oh my God. There's lots of stuff. Do you ever think they'll add true level bombers to CVs? I'll be honest. I don't know what that means.
I guess
I'm a game player. I'm not a warship history buff person. My best friend who got me into this is a World War II buff. His dad idolized the Tuskegee Airmen, so he's absolutely like 3 million% on all that shit. I just play the game. There's a question. Another issue I see is the balancing that CVs do have is done for 12-person modes. That, to me, makes them unbalanced for modes like ranked or clan battles where there are less ships. What are your thoughts? Do you want to answer first, or do you want me to?
You can go first.
Okay. So, in a random battle, you typically have 3 spawns. Middle, left, right. Usually middle lemming trains off to one direction, so you have a strong side and a weak side. So ultimately, you have 2 flanks. What does that mean? That means that you're going to send your planes to the left or to the right. And in the 12 ship whatever, they might be really grouped up. They might be really spread out. You never really fucking know. Ultimately, if there's a lone ship, sure, you attack it. If there's a ship there's 2 of them together, but you think, I can make this worth it, you attack it. If there are 3 ships together and you think, I can make it work, you attack it. If not, you don't. So, okay, that's the 12-person thing. You have 11 surface ships in that case. You as a CV are going to lift off from your deck, fly somewhere, and do a thing. And you're going to do that for 15 to 20 minutes. Well, I've had ranked battles that go for 15 to 20 minutes. I lift off from my deck, I go somewhere, and I do a thing. And you could say that there's a difference between having 5 people on the left and 6 people on the right, because as ships slowly die, the ball of AA, whatever, starts to wither more slowly than having 3 people on the left and 3 people on the right. When one of them loses a ship, then suddenly it's 2 ships, and 2 ships is much more approachable than 3. Yes, but in my experience, in being in like the 7-person situation, it's you don't win the match as much in the last 5 minutes of the match as you win the match in the first 5 minutes of the match. Trying to do cleanup when there's less AA and you have to try to fucking blitz these bastards down because Jesus, my DD died, their DD landed a whole bunch of torps, we lost a fucking battleship for free, fuck, they're up 150,000 health and I've got 5 minutes to do 150,000 damage, fuck. Well, they have less AA though. Yeah, great, it's 150,000 damage. No, it's not gonna happen. Well, okay, like, does it really matter? Whereas, I argue the first 5 minutes of the game is more important. Can you chisel down the DD? Can you critically wound a cruiser before he gets into cover that other people are able to follow up with shells and take him out of the match? Are you able to suicide an entire flight of planes to drop torps to make somebody turn in a really stupid way that gets them just blapped? Are you able to do those moves? And the difference between having 11 other players and having 6 or 7 other players really isn't a difference because they spawn roughly in the same location. Their AA is overlapped in basically the same way. You're still you're making the moves. If somebody decides to isolate, well, they decided to isolate. Good luck with that, bro. I'm not on your team, so I'm going to take advantage of this because I want to win. That's my thoughts.
Like, in my opinion, yes, it makes a difference, but not in the way people actually think. Like, sure, there's less AA on the map, but there are usually, and like I only played clan battles like in the last tier 10 season, or rather, no, I don't remember. It was the first tier 10 season. I don't think we had another one though. But like, yes, there's less AA, but that's not what actually makes a difference. The difference is that you can generally be more free with your plane losses. Like at the start of the match in Hakuyu, I would literally just suicide 12 plane or 10 plane squad torpedo bombers just so I can get some early damage, in which, as you said, the early damage matters. And yeah, it didn't really affect me because there's the amount of planes you spend getting that early damage is more worth it in a 7 versus 7 rather than in a 12 versus 12. In a 12 versus 12, the game is going to be drawn out longer, usually. Sure. And you're going to need more planes to deal with that. So in a reduced player environment, you can basically just you can just spend your planes more freely and not get shafted for it.
So basically what you're saying is, in a situation where there are, well, we'll say 11 surface ships, because I don't think anybody's realistically expecting the YOLO CV snipe. So in a situation where there are 11 ships, and we'll just bullshit a number, there's 300,000 health across the surface ships in the enemy team. When you deliver your little 20,000 get fucked Citadel, triple Citadel thump, okay, it's down to 280. You lost 12 planes for it. Now, whether there were 11 enemy ships on the map or there were 7 enemy ships on the map, the AA is still going to kill your planes because they're going to be set up in a way that it's going to happen. So you lost 12 planes either way. But getting that 20k into a thing, making it a focus target for the rest of the team to try to drag down, technically matters more because the sooner one piece gets pulled off the board, it doesn't go from 11 to 10, it goes from 7 to 6, which is more impactful.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I agree with that. I do. That being said, I don't necessarily think that a CV has to be in an environment where you have 11 other players to try to absorb that health difference or that quote-unquote piece loss. And there is also, and I realize this isn't a satisfactory argument to make, but anything you can do, the enemy CV can do also. So as much as it may be obnoxious, well, if there wasn't a fucking CV, then I wouldn't have taken a triple Citadel because I was properly aligned and I was bow in and I was in my spot and all that shit. I get it. But just because it happened to you doesn't mean that your CV isn't working the enemy team. And it doesn't mean that the fact that their CV actually landed a triple Citadel strike, which you can put the reticle where it's supposed to go, every single time, and it doesn't mean you get triple citadels every single time. There's no way to enforce that. And if there is, nobody who knows how to do that has said about it. They'll brag about that shit on the forums. Oh man, I triple citadel every fucking time. I'm amazing, bitches. Look at my replays and shit. Yeah, but nobody has discovered that secret, and I'm pretty sure if it had happened, it would have leaked. So you put the reticle where it is, you pray, you lose a bunch of planes. Hopefully, it fucking mattered.
Yep.
Okay. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, in my experience, the disparity between a good CV player and a bad CV player is magnified with Lech ships. It was particularly bad in the rank 1 to rank 5 bracket of the last ranked season with tier 8s. I can agree. One of the things we spoke about earlier, why is it that a good CV player has a higher, like the best CV player in the world, why is it that they have a higher win rate than the best DD player or the best battleship player in the world? And we had a discussion about that, and my personal belief was because the CV has the ability to play the map, as in they can go to a location and they can do a thing, whereas a DD player can torp in a direction, a battleship player can shoot in a direction, but it's not the same level of influence. And that influence does matter. So if you have a CV that sucks, on your team, and there's a CV on the other team that doesn't suck, he's probably going to be making more influential plays. And yeah, it is what it is. It's ranked. They are changing the ranked system so that hopefully people of quote unquote higher influence are in their own brackets. So randoms being randoms, you're going to get random shit. But maybe this new ranked system will have people kind of match other folks of similar influence. Well, actually,
yeah.
this is something I want to talk about. Well, sorry, if you want to respond, by all means.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I just wanted.
So your SAT source says CVs can exert a global influence from the start of the game. What are your thoughts on that? Because I've heard people say this shit over and over and over again, and I think I know what they mean, and I believe it's hyperbolic and bullshit, but I can explain why I think that because I sound really arrogant and like a prick when I just said it right there. So
that's fine. Personally, yes, I agree. Like, you as a surface ship, you usually go the first 2 to 3 minutes, depending on level. Like low tiers is obviously going to be action on the first minute on out, but on higher tiers, usually the map is big enough that you need about 2 to 3 minutes before you see the first enemy ship. And CV used to be the same in that regard before the rework, because you had to, at the beginning of the game, you had to service your planes and wait for them to get ready. And now you can just you can spot your first enemy ship within the first minute of the game, depending on the CV you're playing on the map.
Yeah, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, something like that. Yeah.
And if someone is actually dumb enough to go out like a DD and you just start off with rocket planes because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can actually just strike him, and if you're a Shokaku or an Enterprise, yeah, you can just outright kill him, and that's a kill within the first 2 minutes of the match.
Yeah, which
is something that literally no other class can do. Literally, it isn't possible because the enemy isn't spotted, and you'd have to get ridiculously lucky on a blind shot.
Yeah, I guess
literally
that's
into
true.
the enemy spawn.
Although technically, if you had a Stalin that had no camo, that got spotted by a really fast Kleber, and showed a lot of side, and then got deleted by AP shells, and this and this and this and this and all these fucking things combined, Captain Planet sinks the ship in the first minute. So technically, but technically, likely no. Okay, the only reason I take issue with the statement, and perhaps it's not what you mean, your SAT store. When I hear people say that CVs can exert a global influence, what I hear every time I read that is that CVs are everywhere at all times, which I disagree with. But a lot of people really seem to think that way. There's a CV in the match. Every flank has to be, dealing with planes at all times, every whatever, which is just not true.
I mean, technically speaking, because CVs can switch flanks so fast, that you basically have to be prepared for it. You can't
Oh,
just
yeah, definitely.
yeah, he is on the other side of the map. Yeah, let me just go out, and suddenly in 30 seconds he's here, and I'm dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, that doesn't work, obviously.
Yeah, it's like I likened it. I think in the past thing that we did with the Tech Geek, I likened it to in League of Legends. There's a class called a jungler,
Yeah,
and a jungler is usually unseen. They're usually doing their own thing,
yeah,
and then surprise butt sex, they jump out of a bush, and then suddenly they start killing you with their friend, and now it's 2v1 and you die. But technically, whenever they're not seen, there's a threat. There's a possibility that something could happen. And yeah, it's obnoxious as fuck, especially if there's like one of those junglers that's invisible, so you really don't know where the fuck they are.
yeah.
But at the same time, in realistic actuality, they are in one place, and only that one place at any given time, and that's what they can affect. So I realize, it has
Yes,
the
of course.
feeling, but it's just it's hyperbolic to the point of being a meme, which is frustrating because I see it all the time, and it's like to try and just like if you say something on a forum, you just have 20 different people tell you, well, actually, like fuck, just no, it's done.
Yeah, but in a practical sense, yes, a CV can quickly change flanks that yeah, it feels that way even when it isn't.
Yeah, like SAT says, in a practical sense, CV planes easily outmaneuver any ship, so you have to treat them as nearby until you're proven otherwise by the minimap, which is correct. So,
Yeah,
except for the Japanese torpedo planes, all of the planes have a 10-kilometer detection unless you use concealment upgrades or modules or something, which can reduce it down to 8 kilometers, except for the Japanese torpedo planes, which can go as low as 6.1, so they can be really sneaky. But so theoretically, you should at least be able to have a heads up that something is coming. But it's really easy to get lost in the gameplay and then, oh fuck, damn, it happens to me. I'm obviously not a surface ship player, and I get overwhelmed when I'm trying to deal with this, and then there's planes, and then there's torps. Like, sure. Really, really super experienced players can handle the multiple things happening at one time, but I am not one, so I get it. But yeah. Again, I just have to liken it to the jungler. It is what it is. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, I don't think League of Legends would be made better if there wasn't a jungler. But then it would just be all
yeah, sure.
skill, because it'd just be all 1v1s. And, like, if you win your lane, then it's because you're better. Yeah, but it's kind of nice that the jungler influences the randomness and strangeness of the game. It makes every game unique, and that's part of what I like about the CV experience. It adds something that kind of breaks things up. As much as people said in the tier 10 clan battle season, like, well, everybody picked the same ships and it was always the same. I'm going to have to say bullshit, because the way that planes strike things, the way that people move, the way that sometimes you get citadels, sometimes you don't, there has to be some enforced variance to it. I realize adding something isn't always a good thing. I personally believe that the addition of the aerial flank is a good thing. I recognize that there are people that don't. And I stated earlier, I think before you were here, your SAT score, that somebody once likened it to me as there's chess and there's checkers. And I'm not trying to say checkers is like a child's game or anything. That's not the goal at all. But like, checkers has its rules, and you can play by the rules, and it's a perfectly valid game, and people love checkers. And then there's chess, which uses the same board, but it has different rules, and it's probably a little more complex because there's just more options to go with. Does that mean it's a better game? No. Does it mean it's a different game? Yes. Well, I personally like the different game, but it is what it is. Okay, do we have other questions in the thing? Let me. Okay, wait. So we had another person at Askance. Setting the spotting nerf aside, do you think CV's abilities to secure a kill on someone who managed to disengage with a sliver of health is OP? I can tell you that the feeling you get in a CV game is like, fuck, the fact that I just successfully disengaged doesn't matter because the CV is going to come kill me, and there is nothing I can do to prevent it. Do you feel that that is OP?
I mean, it's just par for the course, I suppose. I mean, there's literally nothing you can do to prevent that as a CV without breaking the class.
Yeah, I could agree with
I
that.
mean, I guess you could implement a range range thingy, but I don't think that'd be particularly intuitive.
I suppose the only way you could address that is, like you said, having some kind of fuel limit per se, because there's two things that can happen when you disengage. One is you disengage and you have no cover. So if there's like a line of Stalingrads, a line of big ships that have AA across the map, well, then there's this big wall of AA. Can you fly through it? Sure. Will you take losses? Yes. But you could just fly by them while they shoot you for free so you can get to the other side of the wall to do shit on the other side of the wall. So if somebody who had little health ran away and they were on the other side of the wall, you could make that decision, but you are literally throwing away resources for free, and you may not have enough resources to complete the task on the other side. So in that situation, a CV might just let the player go and just, I can't do this. I have to focus on other shit. But if you are low health and you disengage and there's no area, AA threats in between you and the CV just goes and kills you, yeah, it sucks. It does. But that is part of the game, that the game is an attrition-based game. So
I mean, you could say that, you could say that it's an obnoxious mechanic, but
I mean, it's annoying to be like,
yeah,
well,
you can't really, I mean, you can't really change it.
the only thing I could think of is if you added some kind of fuel limit. So if the person ran and they tried to hide, that you had, the minute and 30 seconds to try to go find them, and fuck, I can't find them.
Yeah, but again, like we talked about earlier, fuel limits would be,
So, your SAT score, we have probably talked for over 3 hours at this point. And I enjoy it. I like talking. I've talked for over 7 hours over discussion on political bullshit. So I mean, it's a thing.
Oh boy.
But well, I enjoyed it. It certainly got heated, but I mean, it was an enjoyable situation to share with somebody.
Yeah,
Even
sure.
though, again,
relate.
we got pretty fucking mad. Or I did. I don't know if he did. He just really trolled me a lot, and I got really mad. If you want to come on and have a discussion, I am absolutely open to having a discussion on stream, because trying to have a discussion back and forth in forums and chat and shit, it's just a lot of stuff gets lost. It's a lot of, how do I phrase this sentence? How do I do one-upsmanship? And it's just much easier to just talk about it. And I don't have any problems with being told I'm wrong or being shown up like, oh, fuck, I didn't know that. I mean, I've learned multiple things from El2aZeR today that I just didn't know, that contradicted some stuff that I said earlier. That was way back earlier in the beginning of this shit. But if you want to hop on, I mean, you can stream, I can stream, and do, yeah, forums are about strawman arguments and posturing. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I just give a fuck about, learning and understanding things and trying to disseminate knowledge, because I think it's fun. So if you want to come on, more than welcome to be my next guest, whenever kind of works for you. I'm not doing it today, but because I do believe in your situation. I think you're an 07 member, right? It's been a while. I'm sorry, I don't know what clan you're in. I just know that you're a notable friend. Yeah, you're an 07. Cool. So you probably have a depth of knowledge and situations about like what, as a surface ship player in a highly competitive environment, the CV fucks this. And this is one of the best things about competitive, or that. And I don't have that knowledge. I'm still new to competitive. I have two clan battle seasons in Hurricane so far. And El2aZeR, I don't know what your competitive stuff is, but I know you are an amazingly gifted CV main, which is why we're here talking about CV shit and mechanics and stuff. So definitely, you're more than welcome to come on. Just give me a text or message me on Discord. This is my Discord. So it's up to you if you're interested. And I mean, if there are one or two other 07 people that want to come along, that's cool. I just don't want like a whole giant gang of people talking all over each other. Granted, I talk way too much, and I apologize. I hope I haven't made you feel like, God damn it, brother.
That's fun. That's fine.
Okay, so we can take probably another few questions, because
yeah, sure.
I'm wanting a damn sandwich. And I think I have to leave soon. So maybe we can do one more question. So if somebody wants to @asconce a question about CV shit for me and El2aZeR to talk about and answer, I think I've got maybe another 15 minutes before I have to run my happy little ass down to the place to try to rescue my car before they close. Jesus Christ, this is like, wow, this is long.
Yeah, it's approaching 4 hours, I think.
It's been a bit.
Indeed.
And you know some people will listen to it, but there will be a lot of people like, nope.
Yep, I know.
If I knew how to edit stuff, I could break it into sections, but
When am I gonna make an AI account? I already have one.
There you go. He has, yeah, because you talked on the forums, like, yeah.
It's a fun story about how it got created. Like, it was one of the early PR fuck ups of wargaming. Like back in, like, if we don't want to talk about CV stuff anymore, back in the day, different servers at different events, and NA, SCA, and Russia got an event that you didn't. And yeah, that kicked off the shitstorm. That was funny.
Oh, I see. Eurotrash lol, you. Hue. Okay, so again, I'm going to give a minute maybe to the chat. If anybody has a question that's just burning inside, type @asconce and go ahead and kick your question out. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this so that I can take my happy ass to the mechanic place and rescue my car. Because if they close in 50 minutes, then that would be a bitch. Thanks for coming on, man. It's been fun.
That's the problem.
I hope you've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it. We haven't had quite as many viewers as we had the last time, but we got up to 80 viewers, I think, the last time. But then again, whoever's going to suffer through a 2-hour conversation and then jump directly into a 4-hour conversation 2 days later, rare. But yeah, so, well, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm going to kick out your PR thing. At least I believe this should link to your PR thing. Obviously, you'll have to kind of hand add in that comma El2aZeR part. But yeah, so woot. Thank you very much, man. It's been fun. I am going to peace out. If you have any last words.
I mean, I don't know if you ever need me again. I'll be happy to come on.
Sure. Well, if somebody comes up with, or if CVs get changed, or if you come up with some stuff like you see me say on the forum where you're like, you motherfucker, this is so dumb, then by all means, send me a message and say, this is moronic. I'm going to lecture you why you are a dumbass on your stream, and I will go, okay, and we will set up a time to do it.
Yeah, sure.